It is time to get onto the Rift for game number 1 of our first match of knockouts here at Worlds 2025. Gen.G taking on HLE as we do a bit of a rematch of the LCK finals.
And gentlemen, you were talking to me about how much HLE were the prepared team in the LCK playoffs. The fact that they came out swinging from what was a difficult regular season was because it felt like that their draft prep was so calculated, and this just feels like another demonstration of their preparation coming into this quarterfinals.
It really does. It also, for me, is reminiscent that even in Fearless, if we think back, so many big meta shifts have happened over the course of the last World Championship, going from Swiss into knockouts, as we do have some vision being secured here. One other thing I do want to highlight with the Hanwha composition specifically, which we always need to talk about when it's Taliyah and Pantheon specifically, even though Delight is obviously not going to be nearly as strong, he will still be freed up by the virtue of being a support. And Gen.G love to play with their side lanes, right? They're one of the best teams at being able to just always get advantages when you contest elsewhere on the map. It's going to be a lot harder against two of these semi-globals.
And you can also move Rek'Sai around a lot as the enemy team if you do get ulted as well. So the ability to follow up from a great distance is going to be relatively handy if Zeus finds himself in an uncomfortable position. But this does feel like the conventional against the chefs. And we'll just have to see whether Dandy's cooking alongside Moglu backstage is actually going to be helping out HLE, or whether it's going to be a little bit of a problem. Because, I mean, we've seen this comp out of Gen.G so many times. I think the biggest thing that's a bit strange is maybe Aatrox for Keen as his first choice in the match. Like, that's it.
Yeah, that really does feel like we are both seeing... We know Keen can play Aatrox, but it's not one of his necessarily preferred champions in the current meta or recently. So because Gen.G doesn't really play towards the top side as much as many of our other teams. But it is, in my mind, a dead giveaway that they're just looking to pick away, right? And I think even though the Corki is really good in this spot, even that kind of feels like the setup was obvious, but not giving Ruler Corki can also only be praised because he's been absolutely devastating on this champion.
Track of what the junglers are up to. It seems that both have set their sights towards the bot side of the map. And why wouldn't you? Top lane, not going to be as volatile. Mid lane has some potential, but bot lane right now with these supports seems like the easiest opportunity to look for a play. The wave state is actually very safe for both Ruler and Duro. The tower is not quite within tower diving range, and they don't have enough of a minion wave to really threaten that, which means that right now I think the primary focus for Peanut is to cover for his bottom lane, and also to contest this bot crab, as right now HLE should have the prio to do.
Well, we'll see whether that is exactly what is going to happen. Some herbivorous tendencies for our boy Canyon in the jungle, so certainly not expecting too much, especially on a Wukong who does like hitting that level 6. But Peanut has had a lot of plans in early games, and oftentimes, if Peanut looks like he's moving somewhere deliberately, then that is where the positive things can start happening here for HLE, as we do have Canyon moving towards that top side, but Peanut wrapping around for a potential opportunity onto Chovy. Seismic Shove does go wide, so it's not going to be too much of a worry.
Chovy trusting his movement there. If he gets knocked up and Peanut can follow up, he might be in some trouble. At very least, would have been forced to flash, but not going to be the case.
Yeah, a little bit of a scuffle here towards the bottom side of the map as Viper down to 100 health. Ruler standing his ground. Will be able to push Delight away as his support's backing, but he's looking for first blood. It's not going to happen. But still, I think Ruler has sent the message.
That's a lot of summoner spells used between the supports. Ruler, though, with the health advantage, pushes the HLE bot lane away. He's going to be able to push this wave underneath the tower. Keeping my eyes on the minimap, and I notice, but you can see the Pantheon already heading towards that top side of the map. Viper's going to be left alone very early in this game, as it feels like Delight and Peanut are going to go on some adventures together.
Yeah.
And we'll have to see, because with the base timing, Gen.G could opt into a swap here, and it does look like that is going to be the case here. And again, to remind everyone, the way that the Pantheon W works, when he has the 5 stacks, if he does jump onto someone, the free auto should do afterwards immediately proc permafrost, so Keem needs to be careful.
Yeah, let's see whether he's going to survive. This is 3 versus 1. I don't think he's looking too hot in this one, and down will Keen go. First blood over to the Rek'Sai, and Zeus is on the board.
A clean gank from HLE with very little time wasted. The fact that Delight was already forced back to base, he immediately moves towards the top side with Peanut. There's that synergy that we were talking about. Pantheon didn't even need to use it because both the Rek'Sai and the Sejuani applied the passive together. Now Delight in position on the top side of the map as Viper makes his way up to also catch this wave.
Wait, are they just going to just go for it again.
I have a little timing window. Zay's still SCP, so he can just catch the wave, and I think that if someone walked in, they could have gone for a play, but now Zayas needs to catch that bot wave, so should be making his way over.
Yep, they do spot that Zayas is going back home, but unable to interrupt it for now as Viper and Delight back in a 2v2 once again. And it looks like, yeah, we are going to see the teleport out from Zayas. Thought for a second that he was going to try and waddle his way down there, but not going to be the case as Peanut is seen on vision.
I think Peanut actually got his wolf stolen there based on Canyon getting the camp lead and Peanut flailing air. Not going to find anything there. But again, with the power of this Sejuani, as long as either Pantheon or Rek'Sai is there, they have so much CC and offensive kill threat to try and make a play. And Keen already falling behind on the Aatrox, and we all know Zayas can be a legitimate win condition, even though this Rek'Sai has been a bit of an up and down pick. Can be very oppressive, as we have seen in the right hands.
Yeah, obviously, Chovy is highest in levels. The guy is pretty good at sticking around for waves, but right now in the river, looking to see whether him and Canyon can get any work done. More scuffling here towards the top side as this time Viper getting the upper hand. Keen and Zayas fighting once more, but I don't expect too much to occur in the 1v1. As Chovy is just going to be bodyguarding Canyon.
Gain 6.
Yeah, doesn't let Peanut do too much. Nimbus Strike goes in. Peanut unable to really respond, but he's still relatively tanky with that giant spell.
Has his Prio in mid, roaming up towards top.
As well comes out immediately, and they're looking to hold them in position. Duro gets into the shapeshifter, but there's a seismic shove. Viper picks it up, and it's 2-0 for HLE.
Chovy being spotted on that bot crab, not able to match the roam. Really nicely done there by Zeka to make use of that timing window. And that is now 2 kills going over to Hanwha, as both Viper and Zayas being set up for success here.
I mean, they're utilizing this Pantheon incredibly well. They're trying to play around it as much as possible. When that level 6 comes through for Delight is when Gen.G really need to be worried, because then that global presence that you talked about earlier is going to come through. Let's look back at the play.
As we take another look here, at first it looks like maybe they invest in the clone, but no, Delight hits true, finds a W on the right member, and as Atlas was saying, that Talia Pantheon combo we saw as a bot lane for that exact reason. And
as a mid-jungle duo, and now as
the longest time, yep.
And it was Chovy's team that did it, and it was when he was with Viper, and now Viper's doing it against him. It's like his own tactics are being used on the other side of the rift. Feels probably a little bit unfair, or he doesn't really care about it because it was so long ago. And as we saw in the opening video, Chovy just cares about winning. So let's see whether they can actually start doing that, because so far they're down about 1,000 gold. HLE trying to get some grubs here, as it is going to be first one taken away by Peanut. Standing in the back of the pit, wondering whether they want to fight for this or not, as you've got Zeka rotating over the flash forward from Delight. He gets the stun, the seismic shove on it too, as Zeka is put in the prison, but he does not care about it. Canyon trying to get himself out of there as Viper's still at full health, and Ruler finally will show up as we've got to fight towards the bottom side at the same time. This last crab should belong to HLE. As you can see, Ruler getting himself out of there, and in the meantime, this battle's still happening here on the bottom side. Keen and Zayas just utilizing all of that region and their kit to be okay. That's a... What? The arcade ship for? That was insanity here from Duro as his clone goes down, but he survives.
A lot happening there. So it starts off again. Great usage of the Pantheon. This is actually a pretty tricky composition for Sejuani to find a mark, because there's double clones, both of which can block our ultimate. But thanks to the target selection, they're almost able to take down Canyon, but they do use a lot of resources, which opens up the play for Gen.G afterwards.
And I mean, what a play it was. The fact that Canyon was able to get away to safety, then Gen.G converted into a kill on the top side of the map. That gold advantage that HLE had started to build is quickly disappearing, and that's how quickly players like Chovy can take control of the game.
And it's important to note, Viper flashed for the kill as well onto Canyon. Didn't actually find him, so he's down flash. As far as AD carries go, Cork is obviously one of the safer ones thanks to his Valkyrie, but that could still be an opportunity window for someone like Canyon if he can find a flank.
Well, let's see what happens, because it looks like HLE are angling for a bit of a dragon. That should be taken here, as no one on Gen.G is anywhere really near this area. That one likely to go their way. And this should also be some feats well and truly on the way for HLE. One more kill, one more objective, and they will be able to upgrade their shoes. And that is going to be coming in right now. So we'll be looking at that one to see whether HLE can get those upgrades. Gen.G, of course, feeling pretty good as far as the scaling is concerned, but I feel like the HLE composition has worked thus far. And we'll see whether they can get it together as we move further on and close this one out.
Yeah, I mean, all eyes are on Chovy right now. He's where a lot of the gold lead is for Gen.G, and now he's moving off to a side lane. You guys mentioned earlier, Gen.G is a team that loves to play through their sides, and now that the Pantheon has that level 6, we'll see how well HLE can punish the side lanes. Chovy should be an easy target for them to collapse on. Peanut is hovering around the top side of the map though, but Canyon is here to cover as well. Looks like he's feeling pretty safe about his top laner's position, given that he's going to go back to base.
Ooh, and there is Delight making his way over, but with all that vision, I think Keen should be fine. Delight's range not quite that big, and Gen.G seemingly thinking that, okay, we're waiting for particularly the one-item spikes, right? Triforce, double Triforce is such an insane power spike, so I think contesting that Dragon, or not contesting the Dragon rather, does make a ton of sense. When it comes to the actual scaling in the game, I think it's actually interesting in that it is so hard to play side lanes later on. Oh, the Realm Warp not going to find the mark.
Will be answered by another R button, so we go R for R towards the bottom side, as here in the top lane, the Infernal Chains connect, and Zeus going to have to just tunnel his way up.
It's fine.
You're seeing that the Aatrox can win out on these skirmishes though, and it's much harder for the Rek'Sai to really trade back, especially given that Rek'Sai, very short range, needs to be in the face of the Aatrox. That makes it much easier to utilize the 3 procs of your Q. Meanwhile, Delight making sure that Zeka has a bodyguard. We talked so much about those side lanes, and look at the positioning of Peanut in the river as well. On the bot side, clearing out that vision, providing Zeka with the safety that he very much needs. The problem is, he is down a level, and that Rod of Ages isn't even completed for Chovy yet. The man is already getting quite the lead here in Game 1.
Yeah, ahead by a couple of waves as well. But you can see that they were listening to you, Betty. You know, they were saying, yes, I think Chovy is going to be a problem, so they try and overload his side of the map, but playing a little bit too carefully, as we could see. But man, this is exactly what we wanted out of this game number 1. Things extremely close here at 12.5 minutes.
What's interesting to me is, throughout the LCK, I know you guys talked a lot domestically about how Zeka wasn't quite the player that you expected him to be, and part of the reason why they struggled in the latter half of the year. But coming into this tournament, I felt like Zeka really has stepped up in terms of what you very much expected from him, and we've already seen that in his most recent series where it felt like he already popped off against CFO.
And even though he's behind in gold, I do think the play towards topside was very nicely done. Good punish of a window of opportunity. And yeah, Zeka really has kind of had the full arc where at first it was just melees, then he was just good for a large amount of time, and then this year, since Road to MSI specifically, we've seen him struggle a little bit, but I agree with you, Vedi. It does feel like he's bouncing back, but you do need a pretty substantial bounce back to keep up in gold when it comes to Chovy, who does now finish his Rod of Ages. Triforce isn't quite done for Canyon yet, though, and I do think they're going to be looking towards that. We have 2 timers basically on the same time for both Herald and the second Dragon, so we'll see what the teams are going to prioritize there, because thus far, it's been a pretty even early game, even though the kills initially favored Hanwha, currently sitting at basically even in gold.
Yep, and I feel like the Trophy factor is coming into play there, as you can see about 700 in the lead. Zeus trying to tunnel his way out of this one as Keen, even though they did try and keep him down, he's kind of said no, and will still just be winning in this 1v1 at this point in time. Sundered Sky, a heck of an item, but does... You know, there are completed items on both sides of the matchup. Now with some steel caps also completed for Zeus, maybe he'll be feeling a little bit better.
There's also, if there's a guy on Gen.G one to be behind, it's Keen. Because he is the one that is always able to have an impact, no matter the game state. We've seen this man bounce back.
You're remembering that Gwen game, aren't you?
Oh, yeah. Oh, there's the Gwen game. There is the amount of lane swaps this man has played. And
I mean, Keen, I really think, has had a phenomenal year. He feels like such a complete player as a top laner.
Is.
And, you know, often people categorize top laners into certain roles, whether they be bruisers, tanks, or, you know, carries. And it feels like the Keen just has the plethora of options available to him, even if he's very well known for things like his Keen Sante, for example. And I think this is a great demonstration that Sundered Sky is such a powerful item on the Aatrox, and we've already been seeing him win out on these skirmishes, but it's these fights that we are getting very close to. Whenever you get these LCK matchups, watching the setups around these neutral objectives is probably the most important part, because the fight itself, it's usually the setup to the fight where we see a lot of the action kick off.
Yeah, the most important thing is the Dragon timer. That's when you know when things are going to happen.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Well, I mean, that's what I'm
kind of
looking out for
throwing
here.
me for a loop there, Atlas. And I want to highlight what you said, Vedi. When it comes to setup, Gen.G, ideally, I think, want to just be together, not get picked off. And if they can get a 5v5 with Wukong and Nico, I think they're in a good spot. I don't think they're going to get that, though.
Yeah, Zeus making his way right into the back of the pit here as Shelly down to about 2/3 health. Gen.G don't find too much joy with the True Shot Barrage, and it's a lot of jockeying for position. Delight in a good one of those, as we can see. But he flashes for it. He knew that they were coming as Canyon gets himself out of there. Glacial Prison not quite getting too much done here as Zeus is going to have to tunnel his way out. Shelly had reset, but it looks like Gen.G have claimed control of the area.
And there you see the trigger pull doesn't work, and Hanwha Life need to either let this go or look for a re-engage.
Well, let's see what they can actually make work here as Zeka goes in, puts the wall down, gets out of there pretty quickly, as we do have the Rift Herald going over to Gen.G, and now they're looking for Zeka in the back of the pit. He didn't want to use the flashes. Now Canyon could be in a bit of trouble. Viper flashes away, but it's Zeka that's in trouble. Keen gets his revenge as he takes down 2. This Aatrox just burst to life at 16 minutes into the game, and Gen.G, I don't think they really cared about this whole Pantheon support thing.
Gen.G waste no time. It was a scary start to the fight as Canyon became the target. But with that Sejuani ultimate gone, Gen.G take full control of the space. HLE seem uncoordinated in how they want to approach as Zeka is locked in the pit. Canyon flashes over to follow him, knowing that Keen is right by his side. The Aatrox takes out Zeka, and with the front line of Keen, it becomes an easy cleanup for Gen.G.
And Zeus basically isn't in the fight because it's such a scattered approach. And I think you could see at the start of the fight the hesitation for Hanwha Life, because again, I think their comp stands or falls by the first second of the fight. They used their tools onto Canyon. He did not go down, but they still tried to contest the objective, and they had to pay for it with a 2k gold deficit.
And now it's a Hextech Dragon as well, and they were unable to keep stacking the Drakes. It could have been such a big deal for HLE to have that win condition, but it's going to be all evened out here by Gen.G, who utilize that extra pressure.
For people that maybe just watch and follow during the international competitions, it's sometimes hard to always understand why teams are considered so good. And that fight was a great demonstration of Gen.G's patience and execution. The fact that they happily conceded, as, hang on, HLE are looking for a counterplay of their own as they set the sights onto Keen. I don't think this is an easy dive.
Yeah, this Sundered Sky item is pretty good, as we do see everyone making their way down. Diving in Aatrox has been hard, but with all of your friends, you can take him down.
Okay, you got Aatrox. Look at top lane, though.
No, don't look at top lane.
Look at mid lane.
Don't look at top lane.
No, I think they should.
Yeah, no, you're right. The play was, they did manage to do what they wanted to do. Unfortunately, the fallout is kind of insane, as this is an inner turret falling down, and the outer in the mid lane as well, which some would argue is even more important, as now Canyon has found Delight. Lots of damage as the double Cyclone does come on in, and Ruler is there to back up the Monkey. Canyon being really active here in this mid-game.
Actually, nicely done there by Canyon. They will get the Hanwha Life with that play being extended towards top, get a inner turret themselves, which means that gold still ends up basically the same place where it begun at the whole start of the play. But the mid lane turret is such a crucial objective as Ruler.
In the Ruler spot here in the mid lane, will get knocked off. There's the permafrost, and that is the chain CC that we were talking about. They pick up their prize, and HLE, I think as long as they have a target in mind, they will kill it.
When it comes to single targets, Hanwha Life's comp does its job, as I have not seen Ruler die in the Ruler spot for a very long time. They misread the response from Hanwha, thinking that they would, I think, all base after getting that inner, but instead they rotate and get a really nice kill and try and work, slowly chip away at that gold deficit.
Well, the map has opened up a lot more now. The Dragon is 2.5 minutes away, but the Arakan is 40 seconds away. And I feel like at this World Championship, given that we've had so much more time to play with the Arakan, teams are a lot more confident to start that objective, often to their own demise. And I feel like that is also true for the LCK teams, and I'm excited to see this Arakan setup, as the fog of war is dark and scary, and HLE have to respect it.
Yeah, and there's a lot more of it now with all of these structures hitting the ground. Zeus looking for Chovy here, but he just walks his way out. There's the ulti to start this one up, but the ult from Peanut is not going to put Chovy in prison. He will get pushed out of the way as there's the Black 4, they get the knockup, there's the permafrost, and I guess you don't need to hit your R button if you've got a whole bunch of others.
And Chovy was confident in the 1v2, but there was 4 people there! So that might just be Arakan.
Quite frankly, Chovy was just flat out disrespectful. He was staring down the face of 2. He tried to go back for a trade, and he didn't respect Peanut's initiation range. It opens up the Otacon, and this gold lead that Gen.G had built is slowly whittling away.
Not to mention the fact that HLE can now catch up in pedals because they were getting destroyed on that front as well. So that number will be able to even out as this game goes on. And that advantage that Gen.G had will be taken away. The Otacon is a big deal.
And I was expecting it to be like a Zeka ult or Delight. No, they just walked into his lane and killed him. That wasn't him overextending into the globals where sometimes you can miss. He just walked up, got taken down, and a nice kill, meaning that now Hanwha Life, with those pedals, feeling a lot better in the game. Back to basically being dead even.
Now, gentlemen, having had the pleasure of listening to you both throughout the year, I have heard once or twice you misbrand this organization as Viper Life Esports.
Yes.
And
yes.
As I look at the scoreboard at the bottom of my screen, I do see said Viper with a 1.3k gold lead.
Yes, Viper has been by far the most consistent player on this team. Sometimes it's not him that's carrying, but most of the time, Viper is doing well. And towards the end of the season, he was doing very well, while there was some otherwise negative connotations around the rest of the team.
Some subpar gaming.
Yeah.
Every now and then.
I was trying to tiptoe around it, but I don't think I did a very good job. This guy's just been fantastic, but this year, I feel like Ruler has something to say about it.
I mean, he absolutely does. Both AD carries, I think, have been performing extremely well. They've also been performing extremely well at this Worlds. And as we get closer to the Dragon in 10 seconds' time, our eyes will be on these AD carries, their positioning, and their ability to dish out the damage. Looking at Delight, he is spotted out on that ward. Good ward there by Gen.G. Right now, Zeus is pushing through the top side of the map as Gen.G have position on the Dragon. It's quite dark for the side of HLE as they look to approach, but there's the TP.
Yeah. Nico's searching out, but you can see Zeus looking to get on top of Chovy one more time. This Dragon down to about 4.5k as Peanut goes in, finds the Glacial Prison. This time the Buff Blossom is too good! As Duro will be able to even get the kill on his opposite number. HLE falling down left and right, and it's Keen once again on an onslaught, and Viper Life Esports, he will be the last one to go down, and it's a triple for Ruler.
I'm normally not one for premonitions, but that felt very, very apt as it's Viper standing alone. The Dragon goes to Hanwha, but the 5v5 teamfight win goes again. And look this, Canyon blocks the ultimate. They were trying to set up on Chovy. Peanut tried to glide past, follow up on the knockup of Zeus, but instead this Ryze gets to keep doing his damage. And Keen deals with the backline.
It felt like such a heavy commitment onto Chovy. The game plan from HLE was just, we have to take this Ryze out of the fight, and by funneling into the Dragon, they made it so much easier for Gen.G's AoE to do damage to the entire lineup of HLE, with Viper isolated by his own teammate's wall.
Yeah, and I absolutely love that we get the coach cam afterwards as well, and Helper being so expressive. And we're lucky we have that because Coach Kim isn't.
Oh my goodness.
So we get a lot of that information as, yeah, Viper being able to pick up a couple of kills in that last fight ultimately wasn't enough. And yeah, the numbers are just a little bit higher across the board on Gen.G's side as Keen is starting to get more and more ridiculous in this game. He's found Peanut, infernally chained him, but Peanut is relatively tanky. HLE not out of it just yet. As you can see, it's about a 2,000 gold lead. That is not end of the world. But it might be the end of Zeus here towards his top side. Tremorsense spots out Duro. He knows that he just has to get out of there as he'll use that tunnel network to make it to safety.
Gen.G have pretty much abandoned the bot wave, and they're going to now send Keen to go and catch it as they look to get control over the top side of the map. The Scuttle Crab will be secured, and the Baron spawns in about 45 seconds. We don't really expect Gen.G to immediately start this objective, but it is putting pressure on HLE. The threat, the risk of this Baron being started is going to force them into these uncomfortable positions where Gen.G could maybe look for picks or opportunities to punish HLE.
I want to also highlight some of the itemization. We actually have Viper going for an early Serpent's Fang, which I do think is an item that can get a crazy amount of value. In this case, see, I think the Starek shield and the shield from the Seraphs are the ones that my eyes go towards. There's also the Oblivion Orb here for Zeka, which, come on now, he's playing into double Sundered Sky, and there's an Aatrox on the enemy team, so that one's a no-brainer.
Glacial Prison goes down, but the Cyclone hits 3! The wall comes in from Zeka, but is he too late as Peanut is just getting himself the heck out of there. You can see Zeus, he's getting very low, and now Keen is looming on HLE, but they hold them at bay. HLE, they have to get out, but at least all of them managed to.
I mean, Good retreat from HLE. Gen.G shouldn't be able to convert this into much outside of a little bit more vision. They have control over the entirety of the river. You can see on the minimap that just HLE have very little control and very little information.
And when you're playing a composition that plays off of picks, yeah, you have to set up traps. I think you just have to send it and force them to respond, force them to walk in. With the Hex Gates, the rotation can be quick. Chovy!
Oh, Peanut reacted instantly, but it wasn't quite enough. Chovy makes it home. But now they know where he is, as they do manage to clear out some vision around this barren area, but it looks like HLE not going to be pulling the trigger just yet. I thought that they were going to go for a sneaky one, as they are indeed. Duro moving in, pretending to be ruler, as we can see, as they get full vision of this Baron. It's going down pretty quickly, as Zeka will make his way over. Teleport in from Keen as well. Let's see whether they can take this Baron, because this could be a difficult team fight. True Shot Barrage goes through. Peanut locks down the Baron. Delight is so incredibly low, but he had the shield for so long. They get rid of him, but can HLE keep themselves alive? Viper cannot, and Gen.G will get the punish, but they keep the Barons on the map.
HLE, at the very least, get away with 3 Barons. It does cost them Viper's life. It allows Gen.G to get a little bit more gold, but HLE have denied a very important win condition away from Gen.G.
Might also allow them to set up for a Hextech Soul Point as we take another. It's just a straight up flip. I thought that they were going to play for vision, maybe back off once Keen TPs, but no. It goes down to, I think, 668 there. Peanut finds the smite, but if Gen.G again actually gets their 5v5 where Duro and Canyon can layer their ults and CC, you're just not going to have a great time. And I think Hanwha Life also knew that trying to just disengage. Can they play as Zeus is here? I think they wanted to play for the waves. He is Rek'Sai, so should be fine.
Yeah, I'm not going to be able to get the crab though, which is exactly what he wanted to do. Peanut looking for this blue buff, but Canyon looming with Duro alongside.
Also, we know the history when it comes to smite fights between Peanut and Canyon, and it feels like that Peanut is once again getting the better of his jungle counterpart, as the blue buff will be secured. That's going to be shared across the entire team. Dragon now alive. HLE can use this Baron to help them get Prio over mid lane. The TP is going to come through from Zeus as well. Gen.G, though, in position on the river, as Canyon hyper-aggressively tries to push Peanut out.
Not going to quite work out here, as he's not doing all that much damage, but Hex Gates going to be able to get the monkey behind this Dragon Pit.
The position is so awkward. Bot wave is being pushed in favor of Gen.G. All of the vision is being denied. HLE are trying to find any purchase or any avenue into this river right now.
Utilizing the Tremor Sense quite effectively here as Zeus goes underground, senses what's going on. They clear out the wave, but it looks like the Dragon is going to be started. Zeka gets himself over. Let's see whether Peanut can do it again. The Pop Blossom comes through, lands on top 4, and Delay once again goes down instantly. It's a trade of supports as now Ruler is free hitting. The Realm Walk just to zone Zeka away. They do manage to get 2 though, and there's the root. They get the knock up. Chovy goes down. Ruler is still standing though, and it's a triple for Viper. He wants to pick up that quadra kill, but mainly they're just happy they won the fight. Zeka gets back in, and with a full health bar, I think they should be able to get rid of Ruler here, or at least push him away.
And the last time, Hanwha Life get the objective, pay dearly. This time, Gen.G get the objective, but they pay dearly, as still 30 seconds. This mid lane turret about to fall.
This time round, HLE didn't commit everything into trying to force the fight. Their positioning, playing the front to back, worked much more favorably for them, but they're spending a lot of time on the map. The respawns are coming through. They need to get back to base.
When is Ruler going to feel fear?
This man fears very little, hence the Ruler spot for existing.
Very true.
He's going to push out this mid wave. And here we go, the replay. So again, look at the positioning this time around. The Zeka ultimate now with the rest of his team. Zeus goes in first, and the ulti, while it does connect onto 4, Viper is left untouched. It ends up being a trade of support, but look how much damage Chovy takes off the beginning of the fight. He's forced back, he uses the Realm Walk, realizes that his front line just disappears, and once he flashes in, it sets up for Zeus to land a beautiful 2-man knocker.
And Zeus, for me, so many highlight moments in that fight. The start, him getting a double knockup meant that Aatrox can be such a nuisance in the fight if you have to use your cooldowns on other members, but he actually went down to like 30 HP, so he didn't get to play the big drain tank, as we're still going!
Yeah, Peanut going in, looking for more power. Once again, it's 4! True Shot Barrage there as they try and keep Ruler out of the fight, but now he's in there. Zeus at full health though, as Peanut going down so incredibly low, and Viper getting so much damage in the fight. Keen finds the angle, but Peanut has the Winter's Wrath, and now it's Zeus going down, Viper at 100, and Ruler will not be stopped. Looking for it, he flashes forward, and it's a double for the Ezreal, as once again he's left
It's a bloodbath in the LCK Finals rematch. We've got 30 kills in 30 minutes as it ends up being a 3-for-3. No objective will be converted, but what a statement from both teams.
And both teams know in a best of 5, getting that game 1 win is such a big deal. They always talk about it in every interview as Peanut starts it off. It's on to Ruler, but this turn from Duro, I want you to look at how close the health bars are, because if Keen starts resetting earlier, if the light doesn't live there, this could have been a completely different fight, but instead, it takes a while. Zeus again is unmovable in the front line. And what a bunch of crazy team fights!
I mean, another flick onto Chovy as well. Zeka has hit so many in the middle of team fights.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say, it felt like the Chovy was in the bounce house, that fight, because knockouts from Zeka, knockouts from Zeus. He was doing his best to dish out what damage he could. The wall from Zeka as well was so impactful, making it difficult for Chovy and for Canyon to get involved in the fight. But the amount of time that Duro's ultimate bought was so significant to allow for Gen.G to fight back. Ruler, 5, 1, and 6. He's only died once, which is when he got caught in the mid lane. His positioning in these fights has been so important to the success of Gen.G's team fighting. But it feels like it's hard to say who has a clear advantage in this game. The Dragons are even. Baron spawning in 30 seconds. You have to imagine the ones that next objective falls, that will be the thing that gives a team a clear advantage.
And it was, I think, the only thing that we didn't get from HLE so far here at Worlds was the quintessential Viper's gonna do it game. And 8-4-4, this guy has been the linchpin for this team. I think if they're going to do it, it's going to be with him as Chovy just walks his way out of there.
Oh, and if he dies there, that's a free Baron. Hanwha Live might still try to make a play for it, but they know teleport comes in from Keen.
Yeah, vision absolutely everywhere here for Gen.G as Duro makes his presence known. Keen spotted with the tremor senses. Canyon tries to get in there, but he just blast cones his way out. Keen has also found the knock-up onto Zeus. It could have been the mistake as he throws down the ulti. They look for a bit more, but it's Ruler that's dominating. And now it's a 4v5 in Gen.G's favor, and they're looking for a Baron themselves. HLE, they do not want to let this go, but I think they might even have to as Canyon goes in, seismic shove. Not going to quite find it as Duro finds another Pop Blossom onto everyone that was left, and then it's mopped up by the Aatrox.
The Wombo combo is beautiful from Gen.G as they hunt down the retreating HLE members. Canyon, the smite of the team, doesn't even care about being in the Baron pit. That wasn't their objective. They wanted to win the fight, and they want to win game 1.
And it's the fact that the turn on Canyon doesn't work out. That blast cone saves his life. Zeus, as a result, is in an awkward spot because they don't trade 1-for-1. The entirety of Hanwha was trying to take down the top laner, and it doesn't end up working, and now Hanwha Live, just like that, that might be game 1!
Yep, Peanut's back was stopped this entire time. Nexus turrets now lie in ruins as this. He's trying to protect it, but it does not work. First Nexus is claimed by Gen.G, but man, that was a banger.
An absolute brawl in game 1. We knew the objectives would be the thing that decides it, but my goodness, what a back and forth. What an excellent display of mechanical skill. Very long range. It is a lot of magic damage, but if you itemize that much magic resistance, well then, that's Zeus' time to shine with a Xin alongside him. The dive threats are there. We're jumping into game 2 of this best of 5 between HLE and Gen.G, a rematch of the LCK finals as both these teams fight for a semi-final spot.
Yep, and as we said earlier on, if you missed game 1, go back and watch it. You need to. It was absolutely unbelievable.
Just have them side by side.
Yeah, you can have them side by side.
At all.
Yeah. There is a little bit of downtime, but honestly, not as much as we were expecting, to be honest.
I mean, we had a very slow early game, and then we got many kills.
We did.
Yeah, we didn't really ramp up as we do take a look at the head-to-head here between Gen.G and Hanwha, and it all kind of went all right for Hanwha when they were up 2-0 in road to MSI.
Oh, God.
That's when the good times ended. Up until that point, this team had been really at the forefront for the LCK. Gen.G really struggling with implementing Duro, which if you hadn't watched all year, you're going to be like, what are you talking about? Having watched the last game.
I mean, the most interesting thing to me was it felt like that coming into MSI, these were the two best teams.
They were.
And so then to not have HLE represent at MSI was a surprise. And then coming into Summer, or the Split 3, I heard the conversation about, oh, well, you know, HLE have fallen off in the regular season, and T1 is clearly now our second best team. And then Katie ruined everything. And then HLE found themselves in the finals once more.
Hey, you can't be mad at the agent of chaos for creating chaos. That's just what they do.
That's true.
You know, that's why they're there.
It feels like a beautiful culmination of what has been.
Keen?
Keen's running with scissors, and Zeus needs to get the heck out of the way. Snip, snip. One more would have done it, but he holds position. Flash is not traded, as Keen knew that he couldn't confirm the kill. Didn't want to make himself too vulnerable, but Zeus, he's not going to be able to get back to this wave, like, ever. He does decide to do so, as now Keen could be the one in trouble. Oh! Keen had the scissors out and chops him down. It's a solo kill in the top lane.
This is an amazing demonstration of why pots are so important. Zeus popping the pot early on in the fight allowed him to survive the initial retreat. But Keen had another one. So when he goes in for the second engage, that extra tick of HP buying him enough space, and then Keen with the return damage ends up getting the outplay.
And I think Zeus was expecting to be able to burst him down when he went back in. But Keen is Conqueror stacked, and he's just quick enough with the auto there.
Well, I think flashing away allowed the time for the auto cooldown to come off, so that when he then flashed to follow up, he was able to land that auto just before him. Wow, Keen with first blood here in game 2.
And with so many of us talking about Keen as the best to do it, it's looking like we're feeling pretty good about that distinction. But we'll just have to see how this series goes on, because, man, it was close. Zeus, of course, going for the three-peat. Keen looking for his first Summoners Cup after being able to qualify in the LCK with every single standing position. Only recently picking up his first trophy, being able to augment that with another. Has not reached the highest of heights. Zeus spending some time away from the Gwen, as we can see here.
Yeah, is unrelenting, despite the fact that he, I want to say, got solo kill, put himself in a position trying to look for the all-in. Obviously didn't work out. I think they do know what Canyon's pathing has been, so he felt safe knowing that Canyon most likely would be on the bottom side of the map, clearing his camps there. Is Peanut looking for something, but not going to find it just yet, as the first Drake about to spawn in 30 seconds, as Chovy keeping the pressure on Zeka here.
And this is a matchup that we've seen sort of traded throughout this tournament. Chovy has always just walked at Azir's in this lane, and as we can see here...
Still doing it.
Yep. Zeka down to 100. I think it was Chovy versus Showmaker. He just walked into lane and just killed him. And there was nothing that Showmaker could do about it. It's not how I expected the matchup to go, but it's just kind of how ruthless he is on this champion. And that seems to be happening once again. Only a slight lead as far as CS is concerned. We will be teleporting back as we've got a bit of a scuffle here towards this bottom side. Heroic charge, not quite doing too much as Keen trying to get the damage down onto Delight. There's the hook, but it doesn't quite hit the mark that they were looking for. Zeus still dashing around, trying to find the angle. Peanut making his way in. He'll get the audacious charge. Wind becomes lightning, and he takes down Duro. Keen gets one back, but it's a double for the man on his last dance as they equalize the kills.
I love that the bloodshed has not slowed down from game 1. Both teams looking to get violent on the Rifters. Zeka goes for a bit of a trade, but that bot lane skirmish, the swap had come through from both AD carry players. The top laners didn't want to slow down. If anything, they'd just gotten more summoner spells. The shockwave connects in mid.
Yeah, Chovy's still trying to throw this ball around, but you can see Zeka standing here does have
support.
the minion advantage at this point in time. And yeah, we do have some backup incoming, just not quite going to get here in time. Flashes still up and available for both mid laners as Gen.G set their eyes on this dragon.
A big miss there for Duro. He had hit that hook. Maybe they trade 2 for 2 because it did end up being quite close. It's now Duro covering to make sure that Chovy gets to catch this wave. Obviously, otherwise Zeka, the combo of the Azir wall with the Poppy stun is something we've seen many a time. As Canyon, thanks to the timing here, will be able to just get this dragon early on. Delight might be trying to annoy a little bit, but they're not contesting this really, and just going to give up the early objective.
Yep. Having a look at it here from the side angle. It's just Canyon finishing this one off.
It's pretty interesting that even though Keen has 2 kills, because of how far behind in farm he's fallen, the gold is, well, now dead even. Of course, he will have this wave to try and catch, but Zeus definitely not in a bad spot as Peanut.
Yeah, looking for a bit of an angle here as Viper throws down a satchel and some bombs, but otherwise not too much else going to come out of it as Duro teleports in with that unsealed spellbook, and they haven't quite been able to take this first plate towards the top side of the map.
I really can't get over how slow the teleport is.
Oh, the
You see
turtle
Duro just leisurely involved from running towards top. Good TP though, because Zinzao in particular, it's so easy to just stack up your passive from Q on the turret as Chovy.
Emperor's Divide gets flashed. Zeka holds onto his, so next time that ulti comes back again, this Azir might be able to find his target. Of course, Chovy going to throw some damage back, but this is going to give Zeka a whole lot of space.
Chovy also holding his flash, not using it too early in the event that Zeka was trying to bait him out. He wanted to wait for the summoner spell before going, but Delight now, oh, Chovy's positioning. He needs to be so careful, Hex Flash.
Yeah, cute little Hex Flash does come on over as Chovy gets pushed back just a little bit, finds the double Shockwave. Canyon not quite here close enough. But man, Chovy not scared of too much here in this mid lane.
He's used to being the target of relentless ganks, and he's able to stave that one off as he finds himself with about a 10 CS lead. He's looking to push in one more wave as the resets come through. Zeka doesn't have the TP available, which means the Viper's going to be the one to catch this. Azir, a champion that's happy to sit in a side lane. Orianna, a little less comfortable just because of her lack of mobility once that flash is unavailable. Canyon going to secure the first grub of the game, and then EQ over the wall to safety. Chovy's back actually interrupted.
Yeah, Mega Inferno Bomb comes down as Viper wants to finish him off. Down to 150, but it's not quite enough. As the B-Zig's going to make his way back towards this mid lane, but that is a decent amount of cooldowns now eaten up here, as Viper does need to now wait the longer time for that one to come back off.
Will Nat Hanwha light the 2 grubs? That really is the most...
That's the prize?
Yeah, that maybe a mid plate as well. We do see that Viper's currently trying his best there. His matchup in top lane is very volatile, and Keen did get an early lead, but just 1 kill, I think generally isn't really enough to break open the matchup completely. Really looking at a bit more of a substantial gold lead or some item finishes, which haven't quite come through. As Duro's here.
Yeah, a little bit of a face check here from Zeus as he throws out the public execution. Duro, he's going to turn up though, and down goes the Ambassador. That is Feats of Warfare over to Gen.G, and a bit of a mistake once again here for the HLE top laner.
And that flash from Keen, ensuring the ult doesn't hit. There's not enough damage, and Duro's there, getting him. I think that crucial extra kill. Now the gold lead is going to start to balloon.
And Keen is terrifying when he's died 4 times.
Yes.
Now he's 3-1-0 on this Gwen, and I know the matchup has evolved over time. Gwen isn't quite the menace that she was before. With this much extra money, she is. That's all I'm going to say.
Oh, she absolutely is.
She can buy the extra base armor, you know?
Yeah, I mean, the thing that I'm most interested in is how well Gen.G can close the gap. Because right now, HLE's composition would love to draw a line in the sand. If you imagine Gen.G starting on a dragon, they're going to poke you with sand soldiers. They're going to throw Ziggs bombs at you. They want to chip away at your HP before threatening a dive. Ideally, they might even just approach a fight, ult onto Ruler with Viper, take 50% of his HP, and then say, okay, now what are you going to do about it, Gen.G? But if HLE are first on the objective, and HLE feels sort of trapped by that objective, it then becomes a lot easier for Gen.G players to find that collapse. So their approach around these objectives, the setup is going to be very important as you keep your eyes on Keen, who's going to constantly be looking for flanks.
I actually really like this lane assignment from Gen.G. I don't know if they were the one that started it, but having Chovy in top instead of mid means that it's a much heavier investment to punish the lack of flash, right? Because the jungle or anyone who roams actually needs to go to the top side of the map, which opens up a lot more cross-map compared to being in mid, as we do see Ruler getting sufficiently bullet, as you would expect in this matchup, as Ludens is done for Viper as well. And that is a lot of damage onto anyone that is squishy, and Ruler definitely falls within that.
Look at this setup we've got coming through from Gen.G as they just have this beautiful array of wards neatly lined up all around behind the dragon, ready for some potential TP flanks. Some of that vision is now going to be cleared out from the side of Gen.G, but sorry, from HLE. But this vision control is just a great demonstration of Gen.G being very aware of how they need to set up and be ready to contest this dragon spawning in 20 seconds.
Yep, exactly. Coming up very, very soon. And Gen.G pretty excited about collecting themselves 2 in a row, setting up for that soul point that has been so important this Worlds. Didn't quite get to see it too early last time around, but this time could be an opportunity to do so. As you mentioned, HLE clearing things out. They do so, but not all of it. As now Viper going to be teleported on, but it's going to take a little while, and Chovy does pick up the wave, but Viper comfortably removes his.
Zeus, even though he is down gold, has been able to keep it not too far away from his lane opponent. Was up to 650, I think, at some point. But more importantly, Zeus is, I think, in this composition, merely a tool. He does need to do late AD, or a lot of AD moves when we get to late. But right now, if he ults either Chovy or Ruler, and Viper can ult, he's already done his job, right? There is a lot of power in the ability for him to lock down a target in the backline. But he does need to hit those ultimates, and we have seen that with Ambassador that can really be a struggle. As Drake fight imminent here, gentlemen.
Yep, and speaking of hitting ultimates, the Poppy as well is going to be instrumental. Delight needs to get rid of some of the key pieces here on Gen.G, because that way they can set themselves up to just take things. And Gen.G won't have the opportunity to get in there and do anything about it. Of course, Keen, going to be a difficult target, right? He's got the mist he can slink into and won't be hit away, but there are certainly some other options, and Chovy and Ruler don't have a lot of mobility on these champs. Susceptible here to the Keeper's Verdict, but not susceptible to having this Drake taken away, as it is just going to be removed. Poppycopter not going to do too much as Duro finds the angle. Chains of Corruption are going to come down, but Gen.G not interested in a fight. They got what they wanted, and it is a Cloud Soul here, set up here for Soul Point for Gen.G in 5 minutes' time.
I really thought HLE would try to contest that more, but it seems that they're not confident enough, given the spikes that they have, to actually try and contest this right now. Because you look at Chovy's itemization, he prioritized upgrading his boots before completing his first item, which made me think that, oh, HLE would say, well, we've got first item on our mid laner, first item on the Ziggs, so let's try and contest this objective. But instead, they're playing the safe approach. We know that they have good scaling on their side, and there's no obligation for them to force anything too early, but if they concede too much, then Gen.G could potentially run away with things. For now, though, the gold very even.
And in my mind, I have things that Orc says, because there's a Ziggs in this game. So far, not too many plates have been taken. We've got 10 seconds until they fall off completely. And you can see here in the top lane, looking relatively pristine. Same can be said for the tower on the other side. And here in mid, it's only 1 or 2 that have been taken. And so as they do fall down, let's see whether Viper can get himself around and start using this satchel to be that demolitionist we know he can be. that
ward is pinged, so Canyon should be aware of everything that's happening. Chovy just finished his Blackfire Torch, and I do think for Gen.G it's a big deal that they have these two dragons, because while there are parts of their comp that skill really well, right? I think that Lethality Varus actually skills a lot better than he used to. Orianna is kind of a no-brainer, same for the Gwen. As you have highlighted repeatedly, Vedi, once Zeka and Viper get to a point, if your engage isn't immediate and crisp, you're just going to get poked down. And I think Hanwha Life, with the level of play they've shown today, are going to need to be goaded into fights they don't really want to take, and Dragon is the best tool for that.
Yeah, I mean, I think Gen.G just have to be fast, and we know that they're a team that can definitely do that. You've just got to find the right window to do it. Yeah, and trade comes through from Zeus onto Keen. As we're getting ready for the Herald. 5 seconds time, Gen.G's in position once again. Resets have come through from HLE. No TP available on Zeka, but he's going to get back out onto the map quickly. Gen.G yet to start this one off as Zeus getting that push on the bot side while Delight provide this cover.
Yeah, he is seen on that ward as well, so that should spell the start of this Rift Herald. And that will indeed come on through. So Canyon wanting to put that one together. We don't have feats of strength down just yet, but this will mean it for Gen.G. As Peanut goes in, not wanting to give this one away. As you can see, the Hextech Minefield doing so much work. The flash out of the way, the Mega Inferno Bomb was necessary. Zeus, it's a teleport overextension as he flashes away back into the pit, but it looks like Peanut might be able to take it. There it is. As they look for the eye as well, Peanut will be able to collect that one. Keeper's Verdict gets rid of the Jarvan, and now Keen has to be the savior for Gen.G, and he may be just that, as he takes down Peanut first, and then just dashes out of the back of the pit.
And it is a 1-for-1 trade, but Hanwha going to be happy with that one because they got the Herald, denying an opportunity for Gen.G to really keep accelerating the game, taking the crucial objective. We'll see if they're able to get more here with mid lane turret. Possibly under siege, but they're not going to commit.
The start of the fight is a great demonstration of how HLE want to play the composition. You poke, you chip, you don't fully commit to anything, and Adura is basically out of the fight. This means that Gen.G's forced to retreat, but the TP here from Zeus, it looks like he wanted to ulti Canyon, who is stuck in the pit, in order to try and set up a play. While they do secure the Herald, the arrival of Keen really changes the dynamic. It's a 4 versus 5, even though they have the health advantage. That shockwave onto 2 with the damage from Keen mean that fight was was a lot closer than HLE were hoping for.
And it had no business being, because as Duro went in, Canyon got knocked out. So Canyon wasn't even there. They didn't get value from the Jarvan whatsoever, as Duro
in trouble yet again here as Delight looking for a bit of an angle. Doesn't quite get there, but when the wind becomes lightning, does get the slow. Peanut, another audacious charge as Canyon comes on through. Mega Inferno Bomb! And that is so much damage the Nautilus could not take. Peanut says top of the morning to you, and it's another kill here, evening things out for HLE.
4 members committed from HLE on the top side of the map, allowed for Ruler to push in that mid wave, but he doesn't have the threat onto the tower to really convert it into anything. So just an easy pick secured for HLE. And similar to game 1, we find ourselves in a very even mid game.
And the thing that was happening in game 1 was HLE were overloading a side lane, but then Gen.G on the cross map were doing so much. What's the best thing about Ziggs? Well, he doesn't need to walk very far to help you overload a side lane, so back into the mid lane he goes, and this turret remains quite healthy. And so I think the adaptation here for HLE, based on this draft and how they're playing it out, seems to be working quite well as we check out the Coinbase gold grind. And Keen getting a lot of money, has been a little bit behind as far as CS is concerned the entire game. But this guy's a problem. I mean, it's 900 gold. He's 4-1-0. We're used to the 4 being in the other column.
It's only going to get worse from here. That is, to me, the strongest part of the Gen.G composition. As Herald's dropped mid, Hanwha Live really want to deny the possibility for a soul point here for Gen.G. As mid lane turret will fall. That's the first turret of the game as well. And I think Gen.G have had better setups thus far in this series for objectives. But Hanwha Live want to try and poke as much as possible as Duro, again, getting taken low.
But you can see in the setup, the poke comes through from Viper. And again, they're quite happy to allow Gen.G to just start this objective off, because they know that once you're trapped fighting the objective, that's when the Ziggs poke can really be lethal.
And this is now feats of strength. As you can see, we're all tied up. Whoever gets this objective will be able to lock that one down.
There we go.
Already, Gen.G have started it. Control ward goes down. This ward in the back of the pit trying to get all the information that it can. They're not going to give this one up without a fight. Mega Inferno Bomb is going to be there. Let's see how much damage it's going to get down on both of the carries into that backline. Is now Duro once again going to be eliminated, but Keen finds the backline. Delight going to be the first one to go down as Ruler is able to do it. Peanut gets in, but it's Canyon with the smite. This time around, Soul Point, some cool shoes, and let's see whether they can win this fight at the same time. Great knock-up onto Zeus as he's trying to dash his way up, and Zeka finds the angle onto Ruler. The Emperor's Divide will find it again as Zeus is able to take down Canyon. HLE, a gorgeous team fight.
Only Chovy is left alive as Gen.G walk away with the dragon, but HLE find the fight. A fight on multiple fronts that looks so scrappy at the very start, but it goes the way of HLE.
And I want you to look at Keen. He is most of the money, most of the threat on Gen.G. The bomb does a lot of damage to the backline. Duro miraculously stays alive and they get the counter kill. But look at Keen, he doesn't actually get the kill on Viper. If he gets the kill on Viper, I think this fight is won. Instead, he goes down, Viper gets a shutdown, stays alive, and now him and Zeus can cut off this exit avenue as Ruler gets knocked into the knockup from Zeka. Oh, Delight though!
Yeah, we're straight back into the fight as of course this is a Poppy. And so does get shockwaved, but isn't too worried about it. We'll be now going back to base. Otacon on the menu. That's why we have R buttons being thrown around.
And I really value or Cloud Soul, but falling behind against the Hanwha comp when you are Gen.G, you're going to get to a point where even if you find an engage, if they're not caught off guard, you will just get shredded. Like, just the minefield alone is going to completely blow you up.
But again, like, when it's a fight that's playing from range, I just feel HLE have the advantage. Of course, Varus's poke is one thing, but compared to Ziggs, it's not comparable. And so as long as Viper is landing those bombs, it is very difficult. And now, especially in these choke points, if Gen.G try to approach, it's so difficult. So this should be an uncontested objective. But as I say that, Canyon's making his way down.
Yep, they're looking to fight for the Otacon. They're not going to be able to stop this tower from falling down. Yep, 2 teleports bring Duro and Keen into the fight. The Otacon down to 50%. HLE do need to be careful. Steadfast presence is decent, but it's only onto Duro, and Delight is already taken down. Viper getting closed in onto Chovy as Zeus looking for Keen in that backline, but I don't know whether he wants that fight as Peanut so close to dead. dead. The Crescent Guard doesn't work, and he's thrown into the sky by the Demacian Prince. Now the Otacon should go over to Gen.G. Unless Zeus can do anything about it, it is going to be there. And Zeus also going to get picked off, although he's looking for Chovy before he goes down. Chovy barely survived, and it's Ruler that picks up the kill. Emperor's Divide used defensively here as HLE limp away.
This fight was just so one-sided from Gen.G. They converted pick after pick after pick, as it felt like HLE, the uncoordination that we saw from game one sprouts up once more.
And it's the mark from Keen onto Zeus. Last time he was trying to 1v2, that doesn't work out. But Keen keeps Zeus out of the fight, and even though this Mbessa isn't necessarily in the best of spots, if he finds an ult onto Ruler or Chovy, they will still die just from the ult. But instead, he gets marked, they are shredded from Otacon, and I think once a double TP comes through, they should have just backed out.
But look at the chain CC that comes down onto Delight as well. The front line is eliminated. Then Azir is rooted on the left-hand side, so Peanut and Viper on the bottom. Chovy gets a good ulti onto Peanut saying, you know what, I can't get in range of Viper and Zeka anyway, so why bother, just kill the front line. Zeus, as you highlighted, completely removed from the fight. And so Gen.G just play pick after pick.
And when the Orianna is walking into the Xin ult, you know that's not good. That's not a good look for the fight, as he just follows up as... I want a supercut of just Helper's expressions.
Yeah, I know, it's the roller coaster of emotions. This guy, you can really tell what's happening there in that room. As you can see, it is 32-4 on the pedal count. So that gold that you're seeing being very even is actually about 2.5k in Gen.G's favor as far as stats.
And I really thought that last fight would be so much harder for Gen.G to play. We talked so much in draft about the disengage that comes through from HLE, the amount of range that they have to play with, and I thought that as Gen.G approached that objective, they'd be taking way more poke than they actually ended up taking. And it felt largely because of HLE's positioning, and it was something we talked about in the first series. Gen.G's positioning around these neutral objectives is extremely good, and HLE can't quite find the poke that they need to win out on these fights.
And now, Hanwha Life, they need to take this fight. They don't have a choice not to. You're looking down Soul Point. I want you to look at the summoners on the enemy team. I think even Keen will have his flash available. All these sums are up. You are pushed into a fight before Viper has hit his third item, before Zeka has hit his third item. Because if you don't take this fight, you're in deep trouble. If you do and lose, you're in deep trouble. And Hanwha Life wanna stay away from that 0-2 deficit. Because even though Gen.G was in the same position against them way back in the road to MSI, and Gen.G was able to fight back, I think you're going to be feeling a lot more confident if you're not there, as Hanwha Life, they know they have to take this fight.
Let's see what they can actually get done here. Like you were saying, Cloud Soul going to make this poke comp difficult to play. Is Chovy going to get cornered here, but gets out of the way of the bomb. They did manage to take him down in the end, though, as Viper is untouched. Keen gets in there. He's in the mist looking for Zeus, but the needlework doesn't quite connect, and now it's him that has to flash away. A blast cone is going to be there for him and Ruler to stay safe, but this dragon belongs to HLE.
And it's Peanut that finds his old teammate, takes down Chovy. And that is Soul Point denying Hanwha Life, showing that Gen.G had to work for it in game one. They're going to have to work for it in this one.
The beauty of these teams is nothing slows their momentum down. He stacks up the Q on the control ward, flash knock-up, follow-up. Even though he flashes away to safety, it's that engage from Delight to connect him to the wall to allow for HLE to find themselves another kill. Once Keen is in, the rest of his team just cannot follow. He's forced to retreat, he flashes away, and HLE deny the soul from Gen.G.
The fact that it is only one kill, though, means that the gold is going to remain pretty similar. Some crabs being collected here, as we do have the Baron just spawning, about 15 seconds old right now. Does obviously look a lot older than that, but I mean, technically, it is true. As
hey, she's been around, you know, she's
I don't
not
know
on
very many
Summoner's Rift.
other Barons, so I don't have much to compare it. What's a baby Baron look like?
I can't answer these questions for you, Atlas.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. We didn't prepare that one. That's fine. Vedius, do you know?
I'm afraid I don't.
Dang.
My only estimation is that it goes Scuttle Crab, Rift Herald, Baron.
Oh, are they all the same animal?
I don't think so.
Probably
but I have
not.
seen Baron plushies, and those look very cute.
They do.
Yeah.
That might be more of a, you know... Okay, never mind.
I know, it's just a small version, but we don't know.
Yeah.
You know, we could be wrong.
And the Void might just do things differently. You never know. You might go from a plushie to a Baron. That might just be the way that it works.
But you know what won't be different?
What won't be different?
Both of these teams will attempt to murder Baron.
They will.
Will further their conquest in succeeding here in game two. And right now, both teams are fighting over vision. You can see the double investment of the control ward. That might seem odd, but it's basically to cover as much of the Baron pit as possible. And Zeka will secure that top tower. That is now all Adder towers finally going down. 26 minutes into the game.
Yeah.
Just goes to show how much slower this one has been. Not in the kills department, but in terms of the map control. As Gen.G now reclaim that vision control, clear out what vision HLE have set up, and now the dance begins once more.
Well, back here, as you can see, Zeus moving up to this mid lane. Still has teleport. Keen is going to shove that wave in. It looks like Gen.G now with a little bit of an advantage. Ambassador forced to move down towards that bottom side once more as the pendulum swings back once again. Level 15 for Chovy, so close to that shockwave level 3. Viper with the most gold in the game is great news. If you're an HLE fan, you love looking at that because this guy is going to be a huge part of the win condition. Him and Zeka needing to get things done later on.
We're also already in this game seeing the value of the Ziggs, because I guarantee you that mid lane turret would have fallen otherwise. But Ziggs' wave clear is just so insane, as Delight has been the #1 engaged target for Gen.G. Been able to consistently find him with those ults from Ruler. Has flipped the game on blue buff?
Yeah, let's do that. I think that sounds like a fun idea. We've got teleports committed. As now
joking!
Delight going down incredibly low. Keen is just going to chop him to pieces. The Poppy's not there, but the Emperor's Divide is going to try to punish. He wants to take Viper with him. It doesn't quite work. And now they look to go in. It's a beautiful Cataclysm to break up the Fighter's Canyon. Also able to walk his way out. Peanut, he couldn't do so, as now Ruler is trying to do what he can.
Oh!
And the flag takes down the Xin Zhao. Gen.G with 4 left standing managed to win the fight.
Keen takes things into his own hands as he runs down the HLE support, turning this into a chaotic skirmish, which Gen.G walk away the victors. Now there's no jungler on the side of HLE. This Baron will be uncontested, and Gen.G, just like that, take firm control over Game 2.
And it sets up into that soul in a minute and 15. Dragon is gonna spawn. And Gen.G this time around should have a much better setup than they did last time. Peanut then found a beautiful engage. But here, I was just kidding, but it's again Delight that I think baits the rest of the team in. They go so aggressive in this defense, and then Keen, even though it goes down, as you highlighted, Vedi, he does his job.
He absolutely does, taking Viper out of the fight as well. Zeus goes in a little too deep as he tries to work with Peanut to threaten the back line. But now it's Gen.G that's in the position of authority. They poke down their opposition. A nice snipe comes through from Canyon, connecting the E. And the frustration on the face of Peanut.
Yeah. Helper, not as much as far as frustration is concerned, as now Gen.G with this siege set up. Zeus able to dash his way out of dodge as Peanut just looking to clear out whichever camps he can find. This inner turret is still going to be difficult to take. We talk about, Baron being a really good thing to be out of siege. It's still Ziggs. So, got to get a lot of work done as far as killing these minions are concerned, and Keen probably going to have to be on that split to make something happen.
Ruler.
I don't think Keen has the Baron at this point either. So if there is just a Mega Inferno Bomb thrown at that wave and it's just Keen that's there,
he knows.
He's got to. He's aware of this particular position on the map. It's all right, Gen.G set up now for this Cloud Dragon. Delight off to the side, wanting to try and make this helicopter work for him. If this Keeper's Verdict lands, it could be such a big deal. Chains of Corruption, he's going to start this fight as Peanut. Crescent Guard there to keep himself safe. And now the flash in, he gets through the turret, he managed to cancel it! Public Execution is still going to be able to find Zeus away into the backline, but the Cataclysm is there from Canyon to buy the space, and Zeka goes down. Zeus is going to follow suit, and he tried as he might, but Gen.G are going to win out, and even though they lose, the Drake might be able to take even more.
Peanut steals away the dragon, but the cost was so much. Gen.G, they're hunting, they're fighting, they're trying to deny HLE from getting back to base, because if they stop Viper, then the wave clear disappears. With the Baron, they're setting their sights on their first inhibitor of the game.
BTPs, 40 seconds, initial highlight, Vedi. If any other member was alive, I think they're just cooked, but it's Viper that's still there.
Oh, Peanut gets a whole lot of his health back, but unfortunately, Chovy's orb is now doing a fair bit of work, and he's able to put him down.
But the Nexus stands, at least for now. They weren't able to kill it with the Baron push as we take another look at the fight.
Duro connects a beautiful hook. after Peanut gets chunked out. You're going to see it here. The disengage, the hook onto Zeka as the shockwave connects as well. Just beautiful layering of CC. The fact that Peanut gets a smite in the midst of all of that is just absolute chaos.
And then Canyon finds the ultimate, jumping over the wall while Zeka tries to disengage.
And you can't kite back. If Canyon's going to be able to always find it and just puts him in a cage, then you're just not going to be able to do anything about it. 4.5 thousand gold is going to be the lead here for Gen.G.
Can't put the pigeon in the cage.
No, you're not allowed to. Oh, I mean, they did do that quite a lot.
I mean, metaphorically, in this game, they need
you
Zeka.
should have. Not this pigeon. This pigeon's an emperor.
All right, now
Betty.
he's being... they're threatening to bury him right now.
Yeah, they certainly are.
And Zeka, he's definitely not had a bad game by any means, but Gen.G, just their team fighting is unbelievable. It feels like that every single player is a threat. We're using a different name every single team fight. But now, the one shining light for HLE is Viper Life Esports. Death cap completed for the Ziggs. The wave clear is monstrous. And as long as some poke connects, there's always a chance for HLE to find a fight. Gen.G wisely looking to play through 2 lanes. They have Keen moving over to mid. The split push threat of the Gwen is going to be something that HLE will be forced to divide their resources to have to deal with.
They can move between mid lane and top pretty comfortably. This inner turret hasn't really taken damage though. And at 32 minutes into the game, that is pretty impressive.
And Ruler is basically feeble. They also went Gathering Storm. So like he is actually doing a good amount of damage here. About half an item away from fully complete. And I think they need to play on opposite sides of the map because otherwise the 6 wave clear is just too much.
Alturo may have found Zeus here. Chains of Corruption to land. Can they blow up the Ambassador? It'd be so important, but the Mega Inferno Bomb is going to buy some space. Man, that piercing arrow got so close. And it is going to be Zeus making his way out. Gen.G a little bit further away from their fountain, so I'm just going to back away.
I think Viper actually used his satchel to proc the spell shield, which is why Ruler took about 60% of his health bar. Just from the ultimate as Peanut.
He goes in, gets the knock up here onto Canyon. He's relatively tanky though. Just sending a message at this point in time. Gia intact here for the J4.
But you can see how difficult it is for Gen.G to close out this game, even with a 4.5k gold lead. They've got level advantages across the board. They have item advantages across the board, but it's not enough when you have a champion that can clear a lot of waves very quickly, which means that Gen.G's priority will be the Baron. That siege, the power that it provides with your minions is going to be more than enough to help break apart the base defense that HLE will have. And so now they will begin their setup. They've already got preliminary vision around the river. The push in mid is the most important part. Someone will likely be sent up top to put pressure there as well. And then the moment it spawns, I think Gen.G should start it immediately. With Gwen, they have a very fast Baron take, and HLE still have to move through this fog of war. They have 2 deep wards, I should say, as observers highlight for us. So there are ways for them to get into the pit thanks to their triple TP.
Oh, they know it's not being taken in the
perfect
control ward doesn't
position.
spot it.
That's really, really nice. That control ward flanked by those 2 wards that were already put in place. Zeus off to the side here as Peanut dealing with his wolf camp for the moment. HLE spread out quite wide, but as we can see, the Baron is going to get started. The full information over to HLE here. As let's see, that Keeper's Verdict going to once again be so important. Keen on that flank angle as we can see. Zeus taking a bit of poke damage, but Gen.G need to be decisive. Otherwise, these bombs will start to hurt.
Look at Canyon.
Yeah, looking to get that flank happening, but just move straight back to the Baron. Could be the opportunity here as HLE get that Sun Disc set up. Peanut on that angle.
A full vision still.
Look at Viper's mana. He's getting a little bit low. The Baron's dropping.
Mega Inferno Bomb to try and soften them up, but it doesn't really land. Ruler already down to 50% though. As Zeus, oh man, you can see he really wants to kill that Varus. If he can find an angle, he will certainly go in, but the defense here from Gen.G is fantastic.
Canyon didn't get out of the way.
Yeah, not going to happen. So the Poppycopter not going to find too much of anything, but the poke
Oh my
is.
goodness. It's so tense right now.
Teleport back available here for Viper if they do want to continue this, but now it's the soul that's in the minds of Gen.G. what they want to do is make decisive calls well. A whole bunch of extra movement speed certainly going to be helping out with that one as they turn their eyes on the other pit on the map towards the bottom side.
Delight needs to replenish his wards, but Dura's already done that, so he's making his way back out onto the base. TP from Delight comes through from the spell book. He's going to make his way into mid lane as well. It's HLE that have position on the river.
Yeah. Peanut knows
Canyon.
what's going on as Canyon turns his way in. Minefield comes down, Mega Inferno Bomb, a lot of damage onto Ruler once again as Canyon continuing on that flank.
Zeus is
Spots
on
out
the
exactly
ward.
where they are, and Zeus, like you say, is on the ward.
Oh, Canyon, they spotted that
Keen-
ward.
Yeah, King goes over to the side and now is going to show himself. Peanut is alongside him, but that means
The
he's
long
nowhere near the
flank.
pit. This is the long con from Canyon.
I don't see
Can
it.
he find the angle? Duro goes in, but the steadfast presence stops it. It denies it, and there is the Empress Divine doing absolutely nothing. Ruler this time gets the last laugh as they dive on forward. It's the resurrection here for a Canyon as HLE now trying to do what they can. Viper is still alive with so much damage. Ruler is there as well, but the artillery not quite landing at 3 versus 3 after all is said and done. And is that it? Okay, it's a stalemate.
Zeka looks to have his faker moment, but Ruler's been here before. He does not allow Zeka to find the angle. The Azir drops so quickly, but HLE still find a good fight. It's a 3 versus 3. Peanut
We're gonna
and
flip
Canyon
it.
are both alive.
We're gonna
Ruler
flip
went
it.
back.
He's running as fast as he can.
He's going to try and get there as soon as he can, but I don't know whether it's quite going to
Here
work.
we go.
Canyon needs to hit this fight. He does it. It's taken by Viper. Mega Inferno Bomb gets rid of Duro, but now Canyon, can he find the damage in this one? And he should be able to, but no, the satchel gets him over, and the Q is not enough. HLE even out the Drakes. It's highway robbery. I don't know how that even happened.
And they get the dragon. Ruler goes hunting for Ziggs, but he is not found. 5-0. 5 for Viper. How is he still alive?
Peanut is not alive. 30 seconds until he's back out on the map. HLE feel like they have to contest this objective. It's a 4v4 as Duro is still down.
Yeah, they absolutely have to fight for this one. This second Baron is going to be so
Poppy.
difficult for them to deal with. The Poppy Copter, it gets
That's
rid of the
Canyon.
job, and there's no smites in here now as the public execution gets on a trophy. So much damage from Zeus as they've taken down Ruler already from down. It's Viper as he finds his mark, and HLE, it should be their turn to take the Baron this time.
HLE come together and execute on the fight. The Poppy ult was good. The Viper ult was good. Zeus locks down onto Chovy, removes him from the fight, but the Baron still lives.
And that was his one job. Just hit an ult, bro. Just one ult. Then he finds the ult. Jovi goes down, and now this should be Baron to Hanwha.
And we were talking about 1 and
lights
4
there.
wins being terrifying. I present to you the 1 and 6 Ambessa from Zeus, who was such a monster finding the angle onto the back line, and that will net them this Baron. HLE, they are not going down without a fight, and they're looking to even up this best of 5 and guarantee us at least 4 games.
These rivals are not holding back with their punches. The ulti from Delight onto Canyon was so important. The engaged falls apart. Chovy gets locked down. The shockwave gets sidestepped by
Zeka had
Zeus
a
as
backup
well.
wall. It was crazy.
Beautifully executed as Viper finishes off the kill.
And there you see as well, he didn't even get clipped by the bomb until he died. That was just the mines. The damage from the mines at this point in the game with how fed Viper is. Absolutely mind-boggling. And it's all going to come down to that final dragon.
And these fights have been intense. They've been crazy. But the player of the game for me has been Peanut. The smites from the dragons earlier were so important. In the midst of some chaotic fights, he still managed to outsmite Canyon, and it was Viper that got that third dragon. But by being able to stall out the game, HLE now find themselves in this position, and they will finally begin a siege of their own.
Well, Chovy gets his health bar halved by his former teammate here as Viper just making things as difficult as possible. Now with the Baron, HLE, I mean, they're going to teach Gen.G how to siege. This Ziggs certainly knows what he's doing.
I want to draw your attention to some of these flanking wards, possibilities that Gen.G could be looking for. Keen does have his TP available.
Yeah.
Right now he's just acting as wave clear as they try to stave off the siege from HLE.
A very small ARAM has occurred as the Sun Disc will be put up. The Gen.G should be able to stop this for the moment. Of course, range wave clear is going to be there from Ruler, but still, with a bit of this Red Bull Baron power play to go. Still a minute left, and Zeus is going to help by shoving out this mid wave as well. It's getting dangerous, though. It's 41 minutes into this game. If HLE lose a fight, there's an open door in the middle of this one as Mega Inferno Bomb is just coming down off cooldown.
It's a full build Ziggs. And you can feel as well, I think, some hesitation from Hanwha here, even with the Baron buff. They know if we lose control of this game, we go down 0-2, fighting back. It's possible, but it's a monumental task. And these two teams, last time they went to 5 was all the way back at Road to MSI. That was a crazy series, but the intensity of these first 2 games has been something else entirely, as both Peanut and Chovy, kind of the main characters of the teaser, have had their fair share of heartbreaks in quarters, some of it together.
Yeah, and both of them have played for both of these teams as well at different times, sometimes at the same time, but also at different times. It's just crazy, the overlap between these squads. And so many times, Chovy has made it so extraordinarily close, but never making it to the final here at Worlds. Now wanting to do so as Peanut looks to have his last dance, looking to follow Deft to military service and doing it the right way. As HLE now back off towards this Quadra Cloud Soul. Should be just absurd amounts of movement speed.
They're gonna poked.
Yeah, looking for a bit of an angle here as AS big shield just eats the entirety of that arrow. And Gen.G just brute forcing their way in, but the darkness is so scary. These bouncing bombs, as you can see, doesn't matter who you are, it's going to do a whole lot of damage. The minefield down, the satchel down. Now the minefield's going to fall, but Duro doesn't find the hook as they get rid of the Jarvan again. Chovy's almost just dead before it even starts, as they'll take Duro as a consolation kill. And the public execution brings Zeus into the back line. 1 versus 3, but he's got friends on the way. And the Emperor's Divine, it shuts down Keen. Canyon is now looking to run his way to the other side of the map as Peanut will find him. It's jungle versus jungle, and Peanut says, not this time, Canyon. HLE are going to look to even out the series as Gen.G should be losing most of their base.
And Hanwha Life's tenacity will be rewarded as they try to pull the waves, but it doesn't matter. Hanwha is in their base.
Yep, these minions should stay alive, and they've got so much damage to these structures. As Ruler just doing his best. The Baron is worn off. Mega in front of him this time. Not going to connect. Shockwave is going to get away as Chovy takes down one. Ruler takes the other, and HLE. They're like, nope. Get me out of here. We're gonna play this game some more.
The base. We're 45 minutes in. Look at the death timer on Zeus. That's 50 seconds.
I mean, Keen is 10 seconds away. He has TP available. Gen.G have set their sights on the middle lane as Cannon. He's trying to interrupt the bases. They have to stop Viper from getting back, but these are fast boys. They've got the 4 Cloud Dragons. They're running like their life depends on it. My goodness, Chovy in the face of HLE looking to end the game says, no, you shall not pass. The ulti connects, stops the Nexus from falling. 44 minutes and this game continues to go.
And any other game, I think it's absolutely over. But the Ziggs was still alive. So your minions will not be if you try and go for this without a Baron buff. Let's have a look at it. 2-man Shockwave. Just gorgeous from Chovy.
Absolutely beautifully done. And you could see that HLE was hesitant, but with the Nexus in their eyes, they wanted to try and end. The fans are feeling the exhaustion, but imagine what the players must be feeling right now. It's only game 2. We are at 37 kills, 45 minutes. HLE, the gold doesn't matter anymore. Everyone is full build. Shockingly, Viper remains deathless. He has yet to die in this game. He's done so much damage.
Yep.
We're back to Baron.
3rd Baron. This is now officially the longest game at Worlds, and it's not looking that close to ending just yet. Satchel is decent there, as let's see what the pop he can get done. It hits 2, it's Ruler and Chovy, as Zeus looks to get in there, and now Duro should be the first one to fall, but no one's gone down yet. Satchel is the first one to go, as now Zeus gets chopped up by Keen. The bouncing bombs are still there, though. Viper is at full health, but Gwen is immune. Chovy is... Okay, the Baron lost interest, and thank goodness, because otherwise that could have been very weird.
Both junglers fall. It ends up being favorable for Gen.G, but my goodness.
If Viper's alive, it's not over.
There's too much to track. The ulti goes in from Viper into the pit. It's looking good for HLE. They're landing their poke, but then Zeka dives in. He gets the ulti onto... Oh, but the ulti from Peanut knocks it back! It actually saves Ruler! They weren't coordinated, allowing for Ruler to get to safety. He continued to dish out the damage, and then Keen on the front line just melts through HLE.
Here we go. Joey, just stop watch!
Okay, he's Onya's it, but still has to walk through the minefield. Now he's at 50%. It's Baron. Not quite so much. And we've got the Hex Flash from Delight. Let's see whether he can buy the angle. He doesn't have the ultimate, but he does have the smite angle. Chovy also now having to deal with the Baron, but they get rid of the Poppy, and down goes the Baron. Absolutely required.
Is that it?
If Gen.G want to win this game.
Six is still alive.
Gentlemen, we have on our hands absolute cinema as the third Baron goes down.
One of the Barons, yeah.
The Elder is 2 minutes away. My goodness. What
I need Gen.G to agree that they're gonna team fight for this, okay? I want that. I feel like we deserve it
I
after
feel like
this
we've
game.
gotten everything we could ask for out of this game.
It's a very good point, but I'm a greedy man.
You're
man.
a greedy man indeed. My goodness. Okay, so that bot inhibitor is still down. Chovy, no TP available. He has to be very careful about being on a side lane. Zeka gonna mount a turret of his own.
I mean,
They're now starting to group on the top side of the map. That top tower is still fairly weak.
Ruler's about to hit the 50-minute mark on Absolute. That's not on Gathering Storm. That's not a thing. That's just there in case. But we're only 3 minutes away. Gen.G is going to keep on poking, but we can see the wave clear from Viper remains an issue.
And gentlemen, we have hit longest game. That's definitely happened. We're also hitting most kills in a game. We're just breaking all the records here. HLE versus Gen.G Game 2. Need to remind ourselves that it is Game 2. There is definitely another one after this.
Yep.
I was going to say we should hold something back.
There is minimum one game after
The light.
Yeah, looking for an angle here as Duro wants to make his way over. Delight goes in, misses the stun onto the dead turret. Man, that could have been a huge deal getting rid of the smite there.
To have the confidence to do that, I mean, someone's got to make a play. But if that went wrong, that could have been the game right then and there. Wow. Some scary stuff, as a single mistake with these death timers this late into the game could be all it takes.
All right, let's look at the cooldowns. There is no flash for Zeka. That's a big deal. There is a flash for Ruler as he just finishes his maul. There is Zhonya's on multiple members. There is spell shields on a lot of the members of Gen.G. We have Knight's Vow done for both supports as well. Keen has a death cap. And Zhonya's as well.
Win, man.
All these Banshees doing some real work for Gen.G as well to help mitigate some of the poke. But with the range, it's not that difficult for HLE to knock it off.
All or nothing.
Yeah. Oh, needs to stay safe. Chains of Corruption gets the flash out of the Ziggs. Could be a huge deal, and that cooldown is not long. As you can see, a quarter done already. Zeus spotted on a flank angle as well, as now Canyon gets into the pit. Haven't started the Elder just yet. And HLE still healthy enough to fight for this one. Gen.G have to be so careful. HLE's poke is deadly. And Ruler trying to demonstrate that his own is too, but it's Delight off to the side. With that Keeper's Verdict up and available once again.
The waves are quite awkward. HLE feel that they have to try and control them. Mid is going to be quickly pushed in. Peanut going to regain some life off of the camp.
Oh, they cancel the light.
Gen.G's going to use this opportunity to move even deeper into HLE's jungle and try and push them back. The Fog of War observers showing for us now how little HLE actually see. Remember that the Gwen can basically solo this, but she's spotted in the middle lane.
If Gwen isn't there, the objective take from Gen.G isn't actually that fast, right? It's Lethality, Varus, and Orianna, so as long as Gwen is on vision, Hanwha know that it can't go down that fast.
It's a battle of attrition when it comes to vision. Right now, both sides are just clearing out what they can. I'm not entirely sure how many wards both supports have left, but I have to imagine it can't be many. But once the wards are gone, it's Gen.G that's in the better position as their control wards are getting them so much value.
Back.
Yeah, they're desperately trying to get Delight back home. There is the hook connecting. Steadfast Presence doesn't do too much. There's another chance of corruption, but it's not going to be enough to get the kill. Peanut on that flank angle, like you're talking about, these bouncing bombs are so scary as we crest the 50-minute mark here in game number 2. And the Elder Dragon lies forgotten as everyone is just looking to get the ideal setup to start this fight on their terms.
I mean, there's a few control wards left, 2 in the inventory of Duro, which is why Delight has to get back to base as quickly as possible. The Elder started.
Yep, there is the hook connecting here as it's onto Peanut. Can he actually keep himself alive? The answer is yes. Mega Inferno Bomb into the backline breaks the shields. And Zeus He now wants to be able to find that angle. Heroic charge from Delight as he's trying to be a hero. The shockwave is going to connect, but Zeus gets into the back line as well. Out goes Canyon yet again, but Zeka is dead! And the hook connects from Duro. Stun comes down, but Zeus, I mean, he's Ambessa, so should be able to get himself to relative safety as Peanut looks to pick up the wave here in the mid lane and buy as much time as he can.
What are they going to do? Gen.G can either look to end or they can play for, it looks like they're playing for Dragon, making sure they get this Elder, which should lead into Baron, which, that's going to be it, right? The 4th Baron, the 5th Baron does the trick.
Elder Dragon is designed to end games, and Gen.G is looking to do just that. Zeka dying in the midst of the chaos allows for Gen.G to take position around the Drake, but in that war of attrition, it was Gen.G that held strong. HLE, they couldn't threaten the backline like they could earlier. The ulti from Viper just knocking off those spell shields.
Oh, down to 4.
He's waiting for as long as possible to ensure they have the biggest amount of uptime.
Yeah, they've got the most of it to fight around this Baron.
But the TP coming in from Zeka, he's not at the start of the fight, forces the ulti early, but that ulti from Viper doing very little. Now just watch the ball, watch Chovy as he sets his sights, the hook connects, the combo comes through, the one shot onto Zeka, he doesn't even get a chance to throw out the Zhonyas. Zeus now very deep, can do very little as he's forced to disengage.
Yeah, and I won't translate that for you, ladies and gentlemen, although if you know, you definitely know. And it's understandable as we do finally see that back come through from Delight. Canyon and Duro.
Exodia about to be exampled.
Yeah, exactly. This is looking pretty good as we've got just over a minute and a half of Elder still remaining.
Viper, what are you doing down there?
The good old split push and zigs.
He has the TP, he can always join at a moment's notice. The vision control is just so much superior for Gen.G on the top side of the jungle though. HLE can't afford to fight, they have to stall, and they have the chance to do it.
I love this from Hanwha. So what they're doing is making sure that there's no multiple ways for Gen.G to play off with the Baron buff, forcing them into a fight, which if they overextend, if Viper can stabilize, who by the way is still deathless, there's an angle here for Hanwha to hold on despite everything, and you gotta imagine after a game like this is Keen.
Keen could be in a little bit of trouble here as they look to take him down. He's flashed, and there's the ulti out of Zeus. Are they looking to just go for a base race just right here? Keen buys a bit of time, but he is now dead. And they've got a minion wave coming on through. It looks like Gen.G might be able to get it done, but Viper is still here. The minion wave is not. As Zeus is looking to stop these backs. He's got a GA, and never mind. They want to go for the team fight. Out goes Canyon yet again. He's magnetized to these ultis from Delight. And gentlemen, this game will continue.
Phenomenal! Absolutely phenomenal how both teams continue to find ways to outplay the other. 53.5 minutes. HLE get a pick onto Keen.
And the biggest test, gentlemen, is for this new HUD. 3 digits. And then they nailed it. Beautifully done. Don't expect that to happen every single time.
And the Elder's wearing off.
And the legacy of Teddy's not enough. Elder is about to time out. And still 20 seconds on the clock.
It's not an Elder.
We need
a
bigger Elder. We must order one. Let's see. As Mega Inferno Bomb comes down, but it's eaten by a whole bunch of shields. As, oh my God. Okay, Viper, calm down a little bit.
There's some wards behind them, but Hanwha Life.
Yeah, there's one ward. I can highlight it real quick.
Really do respect Keen coming back up as...
All right, well...
Oh my God, the exhaustion!
The game is even on turrets. It's 7-7. Both teams have taken 2 inhibitor turrets. The biggest thing is the fact that we have 3.5 minutes on this inhibitor respawning on the top side. Gen.G will have a bit of inherent control. And the Baron is still there for 55 seconds, even though the Rebel Baron power play says 700 gold, and 700 gold means approximately
this
zero,
is a rounding
maybe
error.
less.
Junglers have never been this late into the game. They don't know what to do. They just have to keep they have to keep it for vision. They have to. You've even got the support item coming through. Oh my words. Gen.G, the Baron buff, still 30 seconds left, but it feels like that we're just waiting for another Elder. The wave clit of Ziggs Azia, I mean, it gives me like Season 1, Season 2 vibes.
This is some Frog and Anivia stuff happening here. That's all right. HLE looking to try and defend this inner turret. It's probably not the hill that I'd die on, and they are not going to.
Well, we did almost end the game. Remember when we thought the game was going to end over blue buff 25 minutes ago? Remember that, guys? That did happen.
I think I was a much younger man then.
Right? That did happen.
So young and naive, full of
You know,
promise.
this may actually be the longest game I've ever cast in my,
I wasn't
10-year
actually
career.
there for the 92 minute. That was Papa and Achilles. So this might be my longest one as well.
I don't think I've broken the hour.
And, yeah, I don't think I've ever broken an hour before. I don't know, but hey, I'm all here for it. An LCK matchup I was already excited for, but for it to deliver in such an LCK way as well.
And hey, it might be over an hour, but it could also be over 3 hours in theory because it has not ended yet. But let's just see.
I mean, all the items are bought.
I mean, Ulti's not in this game. He's the one that ended the 92-minute game.
Actually, who else? Is it only, I didn't check, is it only Ruler that has Gathering Storm? Because the amount of AD that man is going to be getting very, very soon is going to be
ludicrous. We need the Gathering Storm check.
Who is Gathering?
See who's getting the most value out of that one.
Obviously, we're just talking right now for the viewers at home, but that's because we're just waiting a minute until the Elder Dragon. When you're this late into the game, that's really all the game is about. The gold is pretty much irrelevant. Everyone is at full build. They're all buying pots. They're all just spending the gold wherever they can. Canyon's abandoned wards. He's bought a Knight's Vow. He's
got no boots.
No shoes for Gwen?
Yeah, we're that late into the game, and so all that matters is securing this Elder Dragon. It will all come down to execution. And to be honest, even if Gen.G win a fight, if they don't kill the Ziggs...
Who is Deathless?
Who is Deathless?
Really, that's why the game's still going, Chronicle. We've been telling you this whole game.
Actually, that is, if Gen.G kill Viper, I think they win the game.
That may happen. You might be right, but that's proven itself difficult over the last hour that we've seen them play. Not to mention they can run away from anyone at a moment's notice because they have 4 Cloud Drakes. All right.
Here it is.
The Elder has spawned. One last reset, but no.
Here we go, gents.
They don't have time for that one as Gen.G all converge onto this Dragon. They have the vision advantage as Peanut shows himself. He does have a control ward down, and they see that none of Gen.G are at this area. They're setting up for a play. Ruler goes forward. Canyon looks to get the knock-up. He does find it. There is the chain as well. As Peanut might be caught out of position. He has a GA. But now in such an awkward spot. He tries to get himself out of there and he survives. He's dodging the needlework. He finds the heal. As Canyon might be traded for this one. Delight goes in. Looks for the angle. But they've managed to take 2. And now Gen.G, they move themselves forward. Viper's still alive. The Empress Divide doing a fair bit of damage. But it's 1 Ziggs and an Ambessa against the wall, and Ruler is flashing on top of Zeus. Gen.G, I mean, they haven't managed to do that thing we were saying, but they may just take the Nexus down instead.
All it took was a single pick onto Peanut. This late into the game, the death timers are so long. Viper alone, I don't think he has enough to hold the line.
Let's see what he can do. He's got that health bar back up yet again.
They can't let him approach.
There are no minions. As Mega Inferno Bomb deals with that wave, but he needs another one for the next. Zeus is doing such a good job as they look to take down the Nexus. Starts the Nexus is now exposed. Zeus, he finds one, and there it is! Gen.G will reach match point in the knockout stage for our first best of 5 in the longest game I have ever covered.
It's the champion, because we're getting ready for game 3, and we're hoping for game 4.
Gen.G with match point as we load onto Summoner's Rift. You can see Peanut still in high spirits, having a little bit of a dance here. As here we are, this could be it for our first best of 5, well, second best of 5 of Worlds 2025. If you include IG versus T1 all those days ago. And remember, log into your Riot account on lolesports.com and watch Worlds live to earn exclusive Worlds emotes, icons, and capsules. And I needed to make sure that, you know, I let you guys know that right now because we may need to spend a lot of time talking about what's going to happen in this game because it might be over quickly if HLE manage to get their fangs in.
Which feels wrong. Or you mean, for Hanwha Life. No, that's good. I thought you meant the series as a whole.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I am a little disappointed to see double Scorch. Did we not learn the lesson from last game, everyone? Well, that's free stats.
No. They're like, surely it doesn't go long again.
Free?
You know, you call the bluff of the last game.
Yeah.
Honestly, like, I don't think we'll see a game for a while that has as much wave clear as that last one.
Wait, Anivia got buffed. Kobe keeps telling me.
Oh, she did, yeah.
I mean, we saw her this tournament.
I know.
Yeah.
All right, so as you can see, normally you'd expect double range champion, get that early prio, that would make a ton of sense. But Viper, starting with the W, already looking to get control over that wave. In the mid lane, we very much expect Chovy to have lane prio. Victor is a very oppressive lane bully. Zeka going to be using the fleet footworks along with the second wind to mitigate as much of this poke as possible.
Yep, Zeka very used to this one. As most know, if you were watching from around 2022, this is a pretty iconic champion for this player. But HLE with some shove towards his bottom side, but not necessarily anywhere else. The early laning of the Scion being very, very good. As you can see, 3 to 12 on the top side of the map. First couple of waves being well and truly in Keen's favor.
I do also like to always think, particularly with how close this series has been, and even though it's 2-0 for Gen.G right now, could have very well gone the other way. What you're also picking away from your opponent in Fearless, right? And when you look at that, I do actually think that both the Kai'Sa pickup as well as the Yone pickup, to me, carry crazy amounts of value. I think Viper has been the standout Kai'Sa in the LCK for a very long time, and then Chovy's Yone really doesn't need an explanation. Although we are seeing Zeka, as expected, as you highlighted, Vedi really struggling, which pre-6 is always going to be the case.
I mean, that's assuming we even get there. Chronicler, let's not jump ahead.
I'm optimistic.
We are obviously very excited for the possibility of more games in this series, but right now Gen.G have just been getting the better of HLE when it comes to the team fights. Those have been the deciding moments, as Peanut looking to leverage the bot lane push as he steals away a jungle camp from Canyon, and he's going to secure the bot crab as well.
I like the skin choice as well, when you get to put down a traffic cone, and Canyon has an ability that basically turns him into a car, and so does Keen. It's just kind of nice. Like
oh, Peanut, I love this. Because he knows that, oh, Kenyon's going to try and double cross him, but there's a ward. Because Peanut knows.
Immediately turns around.
Yeah, Peanut knows he wants to play. And he doesn't have bot side prio. He does a mid lane prio, though, and Chovy is.
Delight is moving
I think Canyon
up.
thought that he didn't
catch
see.
the wave.
Well, Delight is going to move in. Duro's on a ward as Viper is going to move up as well. A 2 versus 3 as Peanut makes his way over. Canyon does manage to get the crab. And HLE not quite able to punish as, never mind, traffic cone goes up again. Canyon's like, I'll reverse out of here. It'll be fine.
Well, I will say this was an ambitious play from Peanut. The idea being to deny as much away from Canyon as possible, but a lot of time was spent, which not really...
Oh, that supercharge
didn't really result in any benefit gained. He will now move towards his Krugs. But, yeah, his jungle camp clear timing is now going to be a little bit awkward. He'll have to reset and then path back towards his top side, where he'll look to secure that top grab, I imagine.
Yeah, right now HLE building themselves a little bit of an advantage as far as how these lanes are doing. Zeus managing to pull himself back in the lead. No, this guy is pretty good at playing the Rumble. We'll see how it develops as this game goes on. And Zeka is a great Yone player, but you're always just going to have a tough time at this stage.
I gotta say though, I think he actually already bounced back really well. I think Chovy was really trying heavily to push the wave to help his jungler, right? Because Canyon wanted to play for the crab.
And Zeka does have a lead, which is crazy.
Yeah,
looking at those health bars, I was like, well, obviously, he's been having a tough time.
Yeah, once the wave is catch, I think it will basically equalize. But what happened is I think Chovy used all his skills on the wave, trying to get pushed so that he could rotate to help Canyon. But then Zeka obviously won the trades because he wasn't getting poked down, because Chovy was trying to just keep his control. And that does mean, like, if you go into 6 with no deficit, that's just straight up winning, right? For Yone, he just wants to get through lane.
Also didn't have to teleport. He holds onto it, walks all the way back to lane.
Well, I think the other big thing for Yone as well is just early on, you often prioritize Zerka's Greaves just because it's just such a good item on the champion. But you'll notice Zeka picking up Vampiric Scepter because he knows how much damage Chovy's going to be throwing out. So when you combine that with the mitigation from the second wind, along with the lifesteal from both the Vampiric Scepter and also the healing he's going to get from his fleet footwork, it's going to make this laning phase a lot easier for him.
Chovy's back as a result is a little awkward though, because he wasn't able to actually pick up Lost Chapter, which gives him a lot more longevity in a lane where you're always going to be out-sustained, but because of the sustain and the fact that Silas is resourceless.
Oh, now, whoa, Peanut, you do not have mid-prio.
Does not. He's still on this dragon, though. Is Canyon moving his way over? Keen here towards the bottom side, leaning against Viper, which is interesting. Knockup not going to connect onto Chovy there as Duro makes his way around. He's looking for a few meeps in the river. As Equalizer is making sure that tempo is controlled here by Zeus as he looks to push Ruler away. Still a good sidesteps here as once again Peanut tries his luck at the dragon. Some double teleports coming on forward here at the same time as Delight and Zeka make their way back onto the map. The benefit here of Zeka making sure that he held on to that summoner spell. Peanut could be in trouble though, as you can see, only level 5 for the Trundle. He'll have to flash if he wants to get out, and he does so. Canyon doesn't necessarily need to, and he decides to double back. Viper in a lot of trouble as the Arcane Storm doing so much work. Duro gets flashed on though as Viper looks for the angle. He doesn't get stunned up by the Cosmic Binding, and in the meantime, HLE also pushing them out on the other side as Duro going for some funny business, and Delight throws up the Gen.G emote as Gen.G still do manage to back away, but the Bard is lying on the floor of the jungle.
A very awkward interaction as, quite frankly, Peanut didn't have the authority to start that Dragon off. He was forced to flash out very early on. He was collapsed on by Gen.G, but Gen.G have their AD carry top lane. Victor doesn't do any damage this early on into the game. And so in the extended fight, HLE is just going to win because they have more skirmishing power. So as we look at this, the collapse from Gen.G is good. You get the flash out from Peanut. But the moment that Zeka arrives, all of a sudden the landscape changes because the damage just kind of disappears. Zeka gets to force Dura out. Viper flashes away to safety. Meanwhile, on the other side of the fight, Gen.G's just forced to retreat.
And there's a teleport invested to really solidify that this was going to go fully the way. If they get another kill as well, could have been a big deal there if Zayce is able to pick it up. But as we highlighted, he did use his ultimate on the top wave. But that is an early objective lead as well as a kill. Going over the Viper. And if you're just tuning in and you're like, why?
Yeah.
Why are we only on game 2?
Isn't this game 4? This doesn't make sense.
It's not, and it's because of that man, and he's already sitting on the gold lead.
Yeah, Canyon going for another drive, though. Let's see, the suppression does come on through as Canyon holds Peanut in place, but subjugation is very powerful. Chovy in so much trouble, but he keeps himself alive. Delight tries to get out, and Ruler with the ulti is going to take him down. It's a double for the Kaiser as Gen.G. I don't know how they're doing it, but they're winning the team fights.
A lot of ultis unavailable for HLE, but they still try to contest the objective. Zeka looking for the extended trade. His ulti's coming up very soon, but it's not up just yet.
Yeah, Zeka is able to at least push Keen away, but the grubs are being taken down by Canyon.
I love that while all of this is happening, Ken's like, yeah, I can take the grubs, it's fine.
Yeah.
I'm not bothered. Starts emoting in his face.
Yeah.
And he is scarring us, obviously. Delight with only a hammer, not going to be able to chew through him. As this time around, as you highlight, Vetty, a lot of key cooldowns not available, and it's immediate segmenting off of Peanut, and Chovy somehow making it out because Zeka doesn't have his ultimate. That could have been the lockdown that would have allowed him to take down that Victor.
I mean, yeah, HLE should have just accepted, hey, we got that earlier Dragon, we're happy with that, but they wanted more, they wanted to deny Gen.G as much as possible. And the key difference, Ruler was there in the fight this time round. Viper
may
below.
not be there on the map for very much longer, but does have barrier to keep himself alive. And so Chovy is going to be able to push him away, but not able to quite get the kill just yet. Gold now incredibly even, but as you point out, Chronicler, that's a very large Ruler. And maybe this is what we forgot to take into account, is the fact that it's just the Ruler factor. And maybe his Kaiser is just going to be enough to bridge them towards Chovy having 3 items
and he has his license.
Doing way too much damage.
He's allowed to play Kaiser.
Yeah.
You know, he spent the appropriate amount of time in the LPL. That's what you need.
He paid his LPL dues.
No, can't do that. As Ruler currently sitting on 2-0, and him being in a good position is a very big deal because, again, if either of your 2 carries fall behind in a composition like this, you are really going to struggle. The fact that Chovy is able to pick up 2 early assists is also a big deal, really accelerating this Victor.
So, the only concern I have for Gen.G, and I'll use some language that I learned from my friend and colleague Kadrol. What will Chovy do when a Rumble ult and Zeka's ult is dropped on his head?
Flash or die?
Yeah, I mean,
maybe just say, hey, Ruler, can you kill them all? Maybe that's what he's going to do.
Because the problem with these compositions, Zeka,
they're going to be slammed into the wall here momentarily. Does throw out the ulti, and Canyon doesn't stand in front of it to try and catch that one out. But still, now it's on cooldown, and HLE lose a big tool for the next fight.
Zeka actually had to flash to make sure that he didn't get caught.
True.
Yeah,
Okay.
So that was very close to hitting.
Chovy.
Oh, might be in trouble here. Does have his flash.
Zeka doesn't have all of his tools available, as we just saw, so not going to go for anything just yet.
But I do agree, Vedi. For me, the Hanwha Life composition just has so much pick potential if anyone ever oversteps.
Well, here might be an example. Unless Zeka just dies, he takes the gravity field, gets stunned up, but then does just go back, and Chovy just lives. Yeah, he just walks.
Whoa, the Kaiser W as well. Chovy, I really thought he was going to get his Siphon power up once again, but maxing out his E, doesn't have the cooldown just yet. Wow, very close one there. At the very least, they get the base off for Zeka. There's a small gold lead for now, but that minion wave is going to disappear as Chovy drops the E. Fortunately for HLE, Viper will make his way over towards mid lane to catch this wave. Nothing really lost on the other end. So a very close game once again here 12 minutes in. Dragon is alive. And right now, looks like both junglers will be making their way towards it.
Yeah, looks like Canyon going to be getting there a little bit sooner, as of course he can traverse walls a little bit more effectively. Peanut should be able to get on in here though, but Gen.G with control of the river right now, and HLE with control of the wave. Understandable, they have a Sivir, as Canyon moving on up on the hunt is going to be popped to make sure that HLE are going to be able to stay alive. That is a decent cooldown, now unavailable. Ward inside the pit. As Chovy picks up first item and is going to move over to help out with this one.
That's just gone.
Yeah, Keen spotted on the top side of the map, but it's not going to change anything as down goes the Dragon. That's going to even things out. Hextech Soul. Gentlemen, that is, we may not have a 65 minute at this time with a Soul like that on the map.
I mean, I think it was wise of HLE to avoid fighting without hitting those item spikes. No Trinity Force on Peanut, no Blade of the Ruin King on Zeka, in contrast to the Heartsteel and the Blackfire Torch on the side of Chovy. So, wise choice, I think, from HLE. It's only the second Dragon of the game. It's not the end of the world if they lose it. And so, yeah, easy objective picked up. But now, this Herald. Can Zeka get the gold that he needs in order to finish his item? Quickly looking, he needs about 500 gold in order to complete his item. So he's going to be looking to get that as quickly as he can. He's going to path up towards that top side of the map. But that Blade of the Ruin King is such an important spike for this champion.
Helps him to deal with the Sign better as well. Obviously, Hollow Radiance is botted. He might be in trouble. There's no ult, and Peanut's there.
Speaking of the Scion, the knockup is not going to connect as Peanut throws down the ulti to start this one up. And without the ability to turn into a train, this Scion is just a matter of time before he does go down. That is kills evened out. As even the traffic cone there to make sure that Zeka stays alive.
Now he needs 100 gold. He needs 100 gold now. Which he should be able to get in time. This wave is going to go down.
I think that should probably secure it.
Oh, it absolutely should. I'm expecting a back to immediately cut. There it is. And so he's going to go back to base, pick up that Blade of the Ruin King. So everything working out nicely there for Zeka.
I'm still surprised about how much control Gen.G have had in this early stage of the game, though. And they still have a little bit of a gold advantage, although nothing really to write home about.
I mean, we're surprised, but are we really surprised?
No. Well, I mean, sort of. I feel like I should be surprised, is I guess the better sentence.
I do think in Hanwha's case, though, they should be feeling a lot more confident. Vedi already highlighted the spikes that have just been hit. In Zeka's case, both helps him deal with the very beefy front line, but also just makes the entire kit of Yone just feel so much smoother. You get a lot more playmaking potential. Triforce done for Peanut. And we'll have to see as this Herald fight commences. I think Hanwha Life, for the momentum in the series as well, getting an early teamfight victory, I think would mean a lot. Because if Gen.G starts pulling ahead with this composition, life's not going to be good.
Certainly not. Well, let's see whether they're going to try and contest for this one, as Peanut and Canyon both in the area. Delight and Viper moving on over as Ruler making his way in. He's spotted on Vision as he gets over here. Duro might be in a little bit of trouble as Zeka coming on in as well. Keen does get knocked up as Zeka discovers him from over the wall. As Zeus gets on through as well. Duro takes the magical journey, but he doesn't have that for the rest of his teammates. It's Canyon that manages to take down the objective as Tempered Fate locks up a couple. The quickness gets into the backline as Delight that finds his former teammate. Ruler stays alive for so long, but Zeus says no. Flashes on top of him as at least Chovy's able to take out one, but it's HLE demonstrating that this team fight, this composition team fight so well.
And Hanwha Life with great execution punished the hubris of Gen.G. They say, you really think you can just take us in a 5v5? The early pressure towards one of the two carries, because look what happens to Ruler. And again, if either of them is taken out of the fight, Gen.G's comp just doesn't have damage. Canyon also isn't able to actually connect. Look at the ult timing here, just a little bit off. They both get out, and then Delight finds Ruler.
The biggest thing for me is they won this fight without Zeus using ult. I was waiting the whole time for that red carpet to drop, and it did not come through because he didn't have it available. But they played the front to back. Chovy was constantly being zoned off by Zeka, and the moment that they locked down Ruler and removed him from the fight, I mean, the damage just disappeared for Gen.G.
And that's the happiest I've seen Dandy so far today. So hopefully that is going to continue, because I think most of us are in agreement that we would like to have a game number 4. Maybe Arnold isn't. I know he's certainly been struggling as far as the stress is concerned, and you'd understand why with how these games have been going. As Ruler and Viper meet each other here in this mid lane, as they have many times in the past. Let's just see. 2,000 gold is the approaching lead here for HLE. This is the largest one that we've seen so far in this game.
And as Vedi pointed out to me, the Dragon about to spawn in 30 seconds. So I want to highlight Chovy's build, looking like he's going to go for that, the Cosmic, the one that makes you move fast.
I know,
I've
also blanked on it.
Sorry?
Cosmic
Drive, yes.
There you go.
They've
Cosmic
got
Drive.
2 drivers in the game. It does make some sense.
Well, yeah, I'm just making sure. Oh, Pina behind them.
Yeah, looking for Duro here, as he does go for a very short magical journey, but the red carpet you were talking about, Vedi, is going to be laid out for him, and the Bard not going to be picking up any chimes anytime soon.
Should be an easy Dragon secure, as HLE finds another pick, brings the scoreline to 7-3, and the vibe in this game feels very different. It feels like HLE has just taken no. HLE have just taken full control over this game 3, and after winning that fight, they're just running away with it. There's a lot of towers left for them to secure. I mean, a single tower hasn't actually dropped yet 18 minutes in. So maybe I'm speaking too soon.
Whoever gets that is going to get feats of strength as well. So this first Drake is, first turret is going to be a big deal. All right, Zeus knocking on the door of this bottom outer. Top outer was just pushed in by Zeka as well. And the 1-3-1, seems like it could be something pretty scary here for HLE to wield, because they have a Sivir. She clears out waves in mid very, very effectively.
One of the things that Gen.G can look to do is try and play around, now that Ruler has hit level 2 on the ultimate, is play towards sides, right? Find the ability.
Zeus moves out of the way of Canyon at least, but I don't know whether it's quite going to be enough to keep him alive. The Impale is going to be invested as he lasts a lot longer than we expected, but that is going to be still shutdown gold going over to Keen on this Scion.
Even there you saw it. Ruler was actually pathing over. He was like, oh, it's for me? Free kill? Can I get that one? But not actually working out. Zeus there know that he has to dodge the ultimate from Canyon, so he's just waiting and waiting. But then they just kind of slowly hit him to death.
I did love that Zeus was like up, down. He was trying desperately to dodge away from that ult.
As well.
And it was kind of Canyon just watching
will be able
him.
to get it. Upgrade some shoes.
Also,
yeah, they were not impressed. They're just like, we have Hollow Radiance, and like, we're grasp autoing you to death.
It's like that scene from Indiana Jones.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. Oh, yeah. All the flourishing, the left and right.
Yeah, I know that one. That gave me nightmares as a kid. All right. It did.
Are we talking about the same scene?
Temple of Doom? No? It took a very long time to do it.
Okay.
Which one are you talking about? Are you talking about the gun out, sword out thing?
That one, yeah.
Ah, yeah, that's a different one.
I thought so.
Mine was a bit more morbid. I'm not going to lie. All right. You might know what I was talking about, though. And
truly,
it is relevant to that.
Does feel like an LCK cast now. Thank you, Vedi. I'm glad you brought us this. This is good stuff. If Atlas doesn't go off topic at least once.
Doesn't feel right.
Doesn't feel right.
Viper going to be able to spell shield the Void Seeker, so not going to be too worried about that one. And so now we're waiting for an Otacon. And oh man, oh no.
He has
I'm not going to say what I'm not going to say what I was going to say. I'm just not going to.
Excellent.
I'm not manifesting things anymore.
Good,
I'm not doing that. That's in my past. This is a new me.
I don't know what you're referring to.
He
but
wants
I
to
guess
write
that's
it
good.
down desperately, though.
Yep.
He really just wants it to be.
Nope, I'm not even going to mention it. It's obvious, but I'm not going to do it.
Yeah,
not going to do it.
I'm completely missing it, but I think that's good.
HLE are going to start off the Otacon,
There are 3
and let's see how it goes. I have no, yeah.
That is.
There's the TP.
Yeah,
Herald's
Gen.G.
there as well. Okay, I like this.
I think they got what they wanted.
Just back off. It's
Yeah.
good.
I'll take that
That
one
ball
away.
wave is quite awkward, though.
Well,
Has
little
his
clap.
teleport, so now he has the advantage.
Are they going to start it themselves, though? Doesn't look like it.
Rift Herald is going to be driven into this outer turret. Still going to be able to get that charge. Let's see if Canyon can get himself out of here.
Oh!
Zeka finds the knock-up onto Canyon. That's the smite to be taken down. The quickness invested. And Canyon should be going down, although he does spend some time driving. Delight now, 50% as the equalizer comes on in. Tempered Fate finds absolutely nothing as Chovy flashes to get himself out of the way, but Zeus has a flash as well and a flamethrower to boot. As now Ruler turns is still left standing, but the rest are on the floor.
What does Victor do when a Rumble ultimate is dropped on his head and there's a pillar in his face? He has nowhere to run to, nowhere to escape. Chovy is taken out, Ruler is dropped, and HLE find a convincing fight once again.
And it's again the hubris from Gen.G. I think what we see is Canyon starting off, he wants to try and dodge the pillar.
Well, so
he
by
wants to
dropping
get
it
the
into
charge.
the wall, it gets the extra charge.
Exactly. Instead, so he ends up going down. They do a great extended engage. You can see here, whittle down Canyon, that's one. The light follows up, forces Chovy to back off. And then even though Chovy only gets slow, takes a little bit of damage, watch this flash from Zeus. Zeka's ulting to make sure he gets on top. And Zeus says, with this Rumble, I am dragging us two-way game free as he's toasting the Gen.G backline. And then Ruler here knows he's dead. Probably could have just not gone for the whole play at all because this is so many summoners invested. And Hanwha Life with what I feel like, and this is a very cautious statement, the biggest lead we've seen so far in the series, maybe? Kind of?
It's feeling like that, but this is also the biggest engage from Delight.
There we go!
As Viper goes unstoppable, taking down Ruler. Tempered Fate will be avoided, but works as pretty decent. Disengage, but the damage has been done. 20 seconds on this Drake, and that should be soul point for HLE.
I mean, HLE are no strangers to this composition, but you can see that they clearly know what they're doing. Oh, enemy AD carry. Okay, I'm going to press R. You press R. Great. We'll all just press our R buttons, and we will just run them down. There's nothing that Ruler can do, and it's, again, the risk that you run when you go for these dual AD carry compositions, dual carry compositions, especially against a Rumble. Once that ulti drops, your carry's just forced to retreat.
Yeah, or die.
Yeah, or that option. Yeah, that's the other one.
Zeus might be forced to do the same thing here as
He's just
quite
running.
able to catch up. He is just looking to run away, almost tries to dodge, but the Arcane Storm, it goes down, and Chovy is able to collect the kill onto the Rumble. So the answering Drake is going to come on through, but that is soul point for a Rumble. And I think you probably take that if you're HLE.
Good deal.
Not bad.
Gentleman Viper has found his way into a 5-0-4 scoreline once again.
He has a habit of doing this series, does
he
he not?
does. He does, in fact, find a way. As you mentioned earlier, he just finds a way of being good, you know? He
He does do that.
That's like his base level. Just
Yeah.
good. Yeah, really good.
I want to highlight Peanut as well, right? There's been, particularly in the 2023 Gen.G years, Peanut really struggling to perform internationally the way he does domestically, where he was obviously
Absolutely.
doing an incredible job in the LCK.
It was even when he went as far as Busan, it was still too far.
Still struggle.
And things didn't quite
Yeah,
work
we thought
out.
it was his powers were tied to Soul, but as we're finding out, thus far on the Trundle actually having a crazy impact in, again, what could be his final series if they do not complete the reverse sweep here.
Yeah, we have to say thanks to LGD for making him feel at home when he was here last time around. Maybe channeling that to get some comfort as HLE get the knock up onto Duro. Still able to go through the traffic cone.
Still barred.
Yeah, still magically journeying, but it's still going to be a red buff taken away. And HLE are just moving into the enemy territory and taking it over.
So there are some very deep wards on the side of Gen.G, but I'm thinking, who would use them? If
Keen.
If Keen is TP flanking, then you're not really getting the front to back that you ideally want.
Tempered Fate did connect onto Zeka.
Oh, yeah, so he buffered his ult, so he was able to make it out as it hit him.
Aha, there we go. So gets over the wall, carries a Tempered Fate with him. But the Baron was started. Ulti for ulti is the trade, so you're not going to be too upset about that. As Gen.G as Peanut takes away some chickens. HLE kind of slowing down as far as the tempo of this game is concerned, though, and they do probably want to keep pushing, but I still think that they're probably fine as this game goes on.
Yeah, and I really don't think they need to, because obviously they don't have a traditional front line, but I think that eventually you get to a point, particularly when Viper finishes his forward item, Zeka already does a great job, as does Zeus, in burning through front lines. They are playing for the timer on this Hextech Soul, because once that is taken, I think the game just becomes nigh unplayable for Gen.G.
Well, I honestly think that the game plan for HLE is even simpler. So Zeka's about to hit level 16. Once he gets his Infinity Edge, which seems to be the direction that he's going in with his third item, you just put him in a lane, and then you just let him be.
Oh, and then he kills the Nexus,
and then the
they
moment
win.
2 people show up, you go to Baron. And then if they don't go, Zeka ends the game. And
See
I
whether
feel
they
like
can work on that angle.
yeah, HLE, I feel, have so many options with how they want to play it. And yeah, I think that if they want to keep it very simple, they don't need to rush, because I don't think their scaling is bad.
No?
Sivir, 3 items, late game, I don't think that damage is a problem by any means. And this front line, Yeah, I don't think the Sion, as scary as Sion has been at this tournament, is tanky enough to weather the storm of a Trundle and these three, well, killers on the side of HLE.
And if he's not there, there's another tank for Peanut to siphon all of the stats out of as well. So certainly a few theoretical checkmate options
He's not
here on
one for
HLE's
choice.
side.
I also think that Ruler is obviously forced to go for the AD build, but to me, the AD build of Kai'Sa really feels like you need to get, which sounds obvious, but you need to get way more autos off. But into the composition of Hanwha Life, that's so much easier said than done, because there is so much AoE damage as well, right? There's the ricochets, there's anything that Zeus does. There could be a stray couple of autos or a Q free from Zeka, and I love that Hanwha Life pulled the trigger here, trying to get themselves the Baron in this game number 3.
And Ruler actually took the Southern Hex Gate as well. They have no idea about this. The Baron is just gone. Yep. And Canyon just going to be blocked here by Delight. Ruler comes on over with a Boomerang Blade, and they say, thank you very much for this cute purple worm. There's a minute until the Hextech Soul, and they have Baron to get them the control.
HLE not wasting any time. They garner information of where Gen.G is on the map, and they quickly convert it into an easy Baron secure. Arguably, this is looking like the most convincing game of the series so far. HLE do still need to close things out. Obviously, we have commentated on how we're not confident in Gen.G's composition to be able to turn this game around, but Gen.G have proven themselves before.
Yeah, the players, a different story, as we do have Ruler finishing off that IE. Now looking to move his way over. Knockup connects onto Peanut.
Look at the
trying to soften him up as there is the equalizer right into the choke point, but not exactly getting all the value that they want. We have Redemption there as well. It's okay, HLE will be able to push out this wave, utilizing the Baron.
The flash is
Zeka
gone.
Gets himself out.
The flash is gone from Chovy though, and that's really all they wanted. Now the backline threat is very real.
Yep, Zeka armed and ready. The Drake is going to spawn. HLE, let's see whether they fight for this one. No equalizer for it. It's going to be Zeka that needs to make that play if they want to make something happen. He looks for the flank angle as he gets the knock up onto Ruler, but he then just snaps back. Immediately, Zeus just holding them at bay, and man, that Harpoon did so much damage as Keen drives in, but it's Delight that takes down Duro to start the fight off. The bottom lane has been eviscerated, and Zeus, he goes into Zhonya's at exactly the right time, and Chovy overextends to try and kill him. They do take down the Rumble, but again, they're happy to pay that price to win this game.
Exceptional execution from HLE. Zeus almost able to get out of the fight, which would have made it a perfect ace, but they'll be happy with a 5-for-1 and a soul to boot.
And I was going to say, where has this HLE been this series? But they've been right here. These games have been so extraordinarily close until right now as they come alive. I think it was an outdrafting at the same time, but you have to say, as far as momentum is concerned, this is a huge deal to bring HLE back into this series and maybe queue up some silver scrapes. As I say that, though, it's 2 inhibitors going down where it's singing the praises.
No, okay,
but
Atlas,
I think it might be.
I'm feeling good. They have Hextech
I was getting
Soul
nervous. You know, I was getting nervous.
And an 11k gold. I want you look at the ricochets and the harpoons. Duro and Ruler are just dying to poke. It's like one Boomerang Blade, a harpoon left and right, and then by the time the actual fight starts, which again, Gen.G need to take, they don't have a choice, they need to deny this possible Hextech Soul. Both their carries are either flashless or dead. And if only we could have seen this issue coming from Draft!
Yep. And you can see Dandy, not exactly a massive amount of celebration, right? I think knows that
Draft's
this one
done.
is pretty much done, but they have to beat them 3 times.
Well, in the series, it's not. In this game,
yeah,
we're looking good.
yeah. Okay.
One number is not like the others.
I don't, whoa, okay. I remember some numbers being...
Is that?
That's a big gap.
That's over 9,000, gentlemen.
I would say that is the lead. You're exactly right, as we're now sieging on this last inhibitor turret on the top side of the map. Equalizer goes down. Canyon trapped on the wrong side of it, but it is just going to mean that this turret falls. The Impale is going to come through Tempered Fate to try and hold Peanut in position, but he's not the priority target. The Arcane Storm goes in, but it hasn't expanded just yet. And HLE, we'll see whether they can clear this last one out. They're not quite able to on this push. They have another wave coming in. The exhaust comes down. There's a great pillar once more. As Zeka gets on over towards Chovy, finds a knockup and executes in the storm out from Zeka. Welcome to Zeka's Yone as it's a double, a full house Zeka's full is, and they'll bring us to Game 4 in this best of 5.
This is what we were hoping for. HLE bounce
Listen
back
to the crowd as
in
Peanut
Game
stands
3.
up.
We've had a banger series so far. HLE have given us the most dominant game of this series.
So I'm glad that you checked your bias.
That is a little, yeah.
But the Smolder ulti on top of everything as well.
Yep.
I just feel like that they've got so much threat.
They do.
So much threat. And I don't feel like Gen.G have enough protection. I mean, I'm excited, if nothing else. As you guys mentioned, so much comfort on the lineups of both sides. And when I predicted the Nidalee and the Camille, I didn't really think it would come through. But the reason why I thought it was because when your backs are against the wall, when you have to feel like you have to perform, sometimes you have to default to comfort. And we're getting to see that here in Game 4.
We are. And Canyon has taken over games to the point where the compositions don't actually matter. Right?
Oh,
On
absolutely.
a champion like this. Like,
Yep.
Peanut could just find himself with no camps left on the map and unable to do anything.
As Canyon is playing his own skin, which is always a nice
I mean,
flex.
this is like by a million miles the best Nidalee skin, and she has great skins.
I really want to highlight as well, because we have cost our fair share of Nidalee Canyon games. In recent times, I swear there's been like 3 matches where he gets killed early and you're like, oh, that's...
Oh. Speaking of killed early, Chovy in a bit of trouble. Keen coming on over to try and keep him safe.
Okay.
As
Not gonna
Chovy
start
walks
with
it
the
off.
Q.
Okay, a little bit awkward there, potentially for the top laner.
Well, both top
Chovy.
laners. Zeus has started with E.
Yeah, not ideal.
And we also have standard lanes as well. So it is going to be Cassante into Camille to start this one off, as our scaling ADs just going to be doing battle.
And they're both scaling ADs as highlighted. I do think that the Yunara we have seen, Brutal in particular, look extremely impressive the moment level 6 gets available. Not unlike Zeri, where her all-in potential actually catches a lot of players off guard. Now, with Viper's performance thus far in the series, I don't think he's going to fall for that trap, but they will have to pay their due respect. And then we have, of course, both junglers looking to do very different things. Canyon just wants to get involved on the map. This is his trademark pick, won a World Championship, he has his skin, and even if you go back as recently as last year at MSI, this was one of the standout picks that Gen.G heavily relied upon, versus Peanut, who just wants to get to 6 as soon as possible and then is looking to take over the game. And I'm going to obviously defer to you, Vedi, as the de facto Nocturne expert.
Well, you've got to be careful about me being a Nocturne expert, because my expertise is very much centered around Nocturne mid lane, which Riot nerfed into the ground after
Justifiably
a
so,
pro or two
we
picked
might
up
add.
my
Yeah.
suggestion.
It was a problematic champion.
No, it was
Yeah.
fair, balanced, and enjoyable for the whole family.
I think it was just a
In
missile.
any case.
It was a missile, and then everyone died.
I have many fun facts about Nocturne, so if either of you are interested, please don't hesitate to ask.
Are we
All
talking
right, what is the
lore?
best Nocturne skin?
The
And
best
why is it
Nocturne
Spooky
skin,
Ghost?
that's the second best.
What is the
Eternum is the best Nocturne skin.
No, it's
It
not.
absolutely is. The sound effects are glorious.
I'm Team Spooky.
Yeah, Spooky. It's just so the little ghosts on the Dustbringer.
That's true.
That are like, ooh, that's so good. All right, Zeus and Keen doing what we expect, which is just fighting one another over and over again. But this is the Keen Sante, and this is Zeus on a hard carry in the side lane as well, as Canyon searching for an opportunity here. Zeka taking a bit of damage already here in this lane.
So, oh.
Keen Sante doing some work here as Zeus gets the physical shield
But there
to keep
is-
himself alive.
Yeah, but Keen is building a really big advantage here towards the top side. Actually, he just uses Cookie, but still has a pod. Zeus needs to be careful. He does have a ward, so he should not get hit by this. And I think going for a dive is overly ambitious, so they're not going to decide to do that. But it does mean that there's a little tempo advantage here for the Gen.G top laner.
If the ward wasn't there, it might have been an angle.
Might have been enough, yeah.
If
for
they
sure.
had have actually hit the spear, but gets a lot of heads up as far as where that was going. It's all right. Another little headbutt comes on through here from Duro. Knocks up Delight as we head back towards the mid lane. And we have a Zenith Blade going in. Achu is going to connect here as Viper. I mean, I don't even think he minds about what the trades do. He hit 2 people with an Achu.
Well, he's
feeling
actually
fantastic.
He's actually running PTA as well. So, like, in these short trades, he actually does a good amount of damage. Zeus is still here.
Not really where he
Oh,
wants
the
to be.
get
As
solo!
the Q is going to connect Keen. Can he get the solo? He cannot. As he tanks up the turret. My God, this top lane has been insane.
That's not bad for Zeus, though, because he has TP, so he's able to, if he trades health, it actually might be end up favorable for him.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that he's still here is the most... He's staying. He's like, I've got to get this wave. He wants to get a juicy base off.
Just one more wave. Come on.
Just
fine.
one more wave. Oh, the cannon! He gets
Oh,
it.
Zeka
Alright.
picks it up.
Nice owning there from Chovy, though. Okay, Zeus.
All right, I'm frightened on Zeus' behalf.
Okay, but the Q3 has one off from Keen. He will get a tower plate, so a little bit of extra gold for him.
And Zeus does manage to get the cannon. That's kind of the main thing, as Keen takes another turret shot.
Oh, he
Have
got that
himself the
all.
Shield.
Beautiful farming.
Oh, it's Chovy doing great in terms of health, but Zeka not really too bothered. Actually, when it comes to the CS department, doing a great job here on the Aurora. And obviously the range advantage is always going to be there for Chovy. But for me, his struggles start post-6 when both Zeka have easy ways to get on top of him, and he's going to have to contend with the threat of a Nocturne at any given point in time.
Exactly, and Peanut, as we can see, level 5 now is just booking it, trying to get towards that level 6 as quickly as possible. And oftentimes, Canyon is able to abuse jungle matchups because he farms so much more quickly. Nocturne will be able to keep up for the most part, doesn't necessarily have the same kind of gank potential, but will definitely be able to eat through the jungle. As we're going to have a look here, 46-11 is a relatively good record, as 9-2 on the international stage.
He's only lost 2 games internationally on this champion. That's terrifying.
Yeah.
Yep.
You can tell why he chose Nidalee as
Oh,
his
absolutely.
champion in 2020.
Oh, Ruler might be in trouble. There's
Yeah.
6.
Zeus waited. There's a Hextech ultimatum, and Ruler, when asked the ultimatum, he says, I got nothing. He flashes to try and get out of the way, but the flash from Viper, and first blood for Smolder!
And of all people that got the kill, it's Viper. And it's a setup from this Camille. Zeus happily sacking his own lane if it means he can set up. He did TP back here,
He's
but
immediately
he's
in
fine.
the bottom lane.
There's coverage. Peanut's there.
Spots out this ward, knows that it's there, is unable to clear it just yet, as Canyon shares in some of this plate gold.
Ooh, okay, he is really
of
going to
farm.
be falling. Yeah, okay. So the experience he will get, but he is falling very far behind when it comes to farm. Might also set up a dragon here for Gen.G. Still Peanut.
Zeus hasn't based yet.
No, and he doesn't have TP.
He's getting a lot of value out of that Doran shield.
I mean, but he really
So he
needs to
teleported
base.
right to the bottom lane. Is that what he did? Like,
Yeah, he was top.
Yeah.
He was waiting in the brush, cancelled his base, ulted Ruler, made sure he was dead, and then he TP'd the bot lane, which he probably should have based first.
I just imagine being Peanut pressing tab and thinking, like, Camille still has no items. What? Hello, Camille, can we spend some gold, please? I mean, Keen is doing a really good job of keeping him underneath the tower. So Keen got a plate in top lane. I don't know if he got both plates in bot, but he's sitting at a 635 gold lead right now.
Previous crash.
A 20 CS lead.
Zeus, you need to back.
no, he needs
But he
the
can't
wave.
back. That's too much fun.
And they know, I think, as well, that Peanut's towards the top side of the map.
Yeah, do you think they know what's happening in the bottom lane, Gen.G? Like, look at that vision. Look at all of those wards.
Zeus is going to base. This is his moment.
We are so excited
Right.
about Zeus going back home.
Guys?
This is one of the biggest moments. He hasn't even channeled it yet.
All right.
The next wave,
No, he's not-
Conquer
he's not
lining
basing.
forward.
There's no way he's
not
staying
basing.
for
No.
Not basing.
No, he's playing the game where you need to build full items. Full Trinity Force coming in first up. I hope that's not the case, but Canyon moving on over here as they start up the grubs. HLE in position to fight as Zeus still hasn't based.
They can't contest this. Keen is going to be here.
No, but Ruler isn't.
He's
There's no
walking down
TP
towards the
though.
bottom side. It's okay. Mom comes down. Fair bit of damage comes on through. Unable to snipe that grub out of the way. So it should be 3 going over to Gen.G as Peanut gets in there to try and steal his... There we go. Finally, he goes back. Doesn't finish a complete Trinity Force, but Sheen
not
and
bad.
Phage nailed it.
Okay, well, in theory, his trading should be significantly better than it has been
I
for
reckon
the
that's
entirety
backed
of
up
the
with a
game.
fair bit of fact there, Vedius.
But the awkward thing for HLE is they sent their bot lane to top, which meant that they weren't really in a position to contest Dragon, especially given that Zeus hadn't based and TP'd straight to bot lane. But then Gen.G reset Keen after he shoves in bot side. Zeus can't TP or get involved in the fight, and given the Smolder is still scaling and their mid laner only has boots, it would have been a very risky fight for them to try and force, given their position. So first 2 objectives of the game going the way of Gen.G, and a lot of it off the back of Canyon just playing through his pressure lanes. And I think back to when Damwon won that World Championship, the meta was play for your jungler. Utilize your pressure in lane in order to allow your jungler to do whatever it is that he wants to do. And that was Canyon's meta. And that's what teams have to do when they play with his Nidalee. And that's what we're seeing on our screens right now.
It's working pretty well. But the Keen Sante, man, like,
He's
we've
close.
seen this work before. The Kasante Nidalee. And I think it could work in this game as well, because this guy is so formidable. Viper is here with a bit of damage, but Keen just walks out of the way.
But he's also been 1v2 for like half of this game.
Has he? It doesn't look like that.
Well, no, that's my point. And that's one of the things you did highlight, Vedi, that one of the worries that you do have with the Camille is what is happening to, as we can see, as Zeka is now answering to Hanwha, is that they are, even though Viper's in a great spot, they're kind of behind in tempo on these swaps. So Gen.G have just been continuously swapping to make sure that they keep the Camille in an awkward spot, whereas Keen obviously doesn't really care being in a 1v2, was actually trying the base there to maybe rotate again.
So the way you fix this if you're HLE, Nocturne presses R on Ruler. Right, and so Camille plus Nocturne plus ideally Delight is there as well, but you just set up a pick onto Zeus, and then this deficit doesn't matter because the moment that Zeus just gets a single kill to get the ball rolling, gets that first item completed, he's back in action.
Well, everyone's here. Zeus does have the hook shot. Slurkle not going to quite be enough to do it. Zeus will be able to back away. Still hasn't died. It's kind of crazy that our only kill is onto Ruler earlier on in this game.
It's so awkward now for Zeus because this wave is slow pushing towards Ruler. He can't afford to approach yet. Now we see Peanut and Delight doing exactly what they need to. Path towards bot to provide him with a little bit of freedom. And Ruler now like, okay, we'll push that wave back out. Overall though, game very even state. While Keen does have a big advantage, Viper has an advantage of his own. 20 CS, well 15 CS the lead along with that kill. Viper is looking very scary on the Smolder with 86 stacks so far.
This is also a really easy game to read, and at one side, very clear, at least up until Viper gets, up to his stacks and has RFC. And even then, I would argue that the comp as a whole is still dive. He just gets to do some poking. It's poke versus dive. On one end, you have Hanwha Life, who have so many tools to go in, start fights, and need to take out the key carries. And at the other end, you have Canyon, Chovy, and Ruler. They're just trying to poke or get as much damage off as possible. And Duro and Keen standing bodyguard. But the tools for Hanwha Life are really, and this keeps repeating, they're particularly the Camille Nocturne combo is so hard to actually do anything against. So I think for Gen.G it's actually really important that Canyon, Chovy, and Ruler all stay in good position so that if you lose one, the other two can cover your bases.
Well, Viper picks up that cannon quite nicely here as Chovy taking a little bit of damage. And here on the bottom side, Zeus shows himself to Ruler. Canyon and Duro in the area, and it looks like HLE want to deny some dragon stacking here. The ability to equalize things is theirs. Zeus could be in some trouble though as he tries to get himself out. Canyon misses the spear though, so it looks like Zeus will be allowed to live for the moment. The rest of HLE starting off this Drake, but it looks like Peanut and Delight not going to be able to continue anything. We have, teleport available for Chovy going back to base. And we'll head back in.
Doesn't finish his item.
Yeah, Blackfire Torch not quite done just yet. And he's just going to be wandering back towards that lane.
Zeus is the bigger threat here though because he's still farming at waves. He has to be close to his Trinity Force soon. He's going back to base now. Did tick over to level 10. And with that TP, I imagine, you can see the Aurora collapsing as well. HLE are committing to this dragon.
Yeah, teleport actually to the top lane. Kind of insane here as Keen can teleport back down if he would like to. Teleport in from Chovy. They are going to contest this. There's the Pulverize onto Delight. He's got the Eclipse to keep himself healthy. As Canyon comes in, there is the Smite from the Nidalee. Works very, very well. Meanwhile, fight towards the top side of the map as well as the All-Out comes on through. Zeus does have the hook shot, just gets himself out of there. Another Hextech Soul. And Gen.G one step closer to that soul point.
And Canyon is able to not only get the dragon with the execute on the pounce, but also note, Zeus tried to TP in. Or rather, Zeus also, I think, tried to join the fight and got stopped in Keen, which is why he was in the river. Maybe the Camille could have been enough.
No, so
no, it was Keen that was trying to
Zeus TP'd to top, and so then what Zeus did was he fully committed onto Keen to prevent him from being able to TP towards the bot side of the map.
Actually use
exactly, but that was the whole point. Basically, Zeus was trading his HP bar to prevent Keen from TPing in because, as you identified, if Keen had TP'd into that fight, it just would have been a disaster.
But they still got the dragon.
Yes, they did, because Canyon's Nidalee has a 9-2 record internationally.
Yeah, and also an execute, which is helpful. Peanut tried to make something happen there, of course, does have the Hex Plate now completed, so that ulti is going to be coming up relatively soon, but no assists on this Nocturne. And we talk about Ultimate Hunter quite a lot when it comes to Nocturne. You do really want to keep that cooldown as low as possible. Needs to start assisting in some of these kills.
My frustration with Peanut is I feel like he hasn't been pressing his ultimate enough.
Yeah.
I feel like that given the position Zeus was in, you want to just throw that out, if nothing else, to try and get flashes from your opposition, whether that be Chovy or Ruler, because around those dragon fights, those flashes being unavailable is a very big deal.
And also, you're not going to be out power farming the Nidalee. Like, it's just not happening, as we are already seeing. So I want to echo what you said. I think we saw some hesitation there, whereas if they had trusted Zeus to cancel the Keen's teleport and actually committed, I think that fight was playable, right? They did get Canyon's flash, but just flash alone doesn't mean that much. And now Gen.G get to do what they love, set up and poke.
Well, it's right now just engaging onto this Rift Herald as Delight makes his way over. They know what's going on. Mum comes down, doesn't do much of anything at all, but man, that Achu doing a lot of work. Zeus moving his way in. That's going to be the steal on the Herald. Between Worlds comes through as well, but Chovy takes first blood in the fight, but now it's HLE's turn as the Keen Sante says not today, HLE! Turns around and slams them into the ground.
And the trade goes in favor of Gen.G. Hanwha do get the Herald though. Eye is picked up by Zeus, but that is costly, not just because of that initial trade, but top lane turret will fall.
Gen.G demonstrate how difficult it is to pull off this composition from HLE. They threw every single member onto a single target, but in doing so clumped up for Ruler to dish out the damage himself. And with Keen being as strong as he is at this point in the game, it is a terrifying situation. We look back at the fight, the ulti used early from Viper as Delight uses the Hex Gates to get in from behind. Keep your eyes on the positioning of Ruler here. He has to move into the brush. Fog of War, he's not the target. Now they're all clumped up. Gets ulted by Zeka, but look at over the wall. Damage after damage. Chovy with the assist, throws out the ultimate, connects onto 3, and then Keen cleans up Zeus on the back end.
And even though Canyon dies, this is what we were talking about. As long as 2 of the other members are alive and well, they're going to be feeling good. And at this point in the game, Keen is also just a straight-up carry. He already had a lead. The one-item spike of that Iceborne Gauntlet is a big menace. And they got Herald, but it looks like they're going to have to pay with about a 3k gold deficit. Now their jungle is just getting invaded, and Canyon's just getting blue buffs.
He's just stealing it all away. Keen
dashes
grabs
over the
himself
wall.
a blue as well. Did he flash over the wall?
No, dash.
Ah,
He
dash
pounced.
over the wall.
Yeah.
Okay. Good, I need to keep track of
Important distinction.
Yeah, dashes or flashes over walls. It's very important. As the eye was picked up by Zeus, of all people. Should be him taking down a turret. He does manage to do that, but
he's the Herald. He's not going to use it.
well, we'll see. Paranoia is going to come on through here, as Zeka could be in some trouble. The Q3 connected, and down he goes. Peanut in trouble as well as the Redemption. Going to barely be enough to keep him in this fight. In the meantime, the Rift Herald is getting involved, but they take the inner turret. And that's an even trade.
That can't happen. You can't die as Aurora with Flash Up when your Nocturne's ulting. Like, you need to respect Aurora is one of the most slippery characters in the game. You can't just be caught by the Cassante there and end up dying, because if that doesn't happen and you just wave clear, Zeus is winning a trade for you on the opposite end of the map. I say, okay, he is out.
Yeah. I mean, that single fight, it feels like that has just broken HLE now. The advantage that Gen.G has garnered off the back of that has given them so much control over the game. Remember that Viper had a healthy lead over Ruler, and that's just disappeared, as only just now does Viper finish his second item. Dragon spawning in 4 seconds, and HLE have no position on the map. Just look at the vision coming through from the side of Gen.G. The entire enemy jungle is littered. HLE have a few wards here and there, but they are not in a position to contest.
That's the whole point. Where did the 2k gold lead come from?
Yeah, I was trying to figure that out as well.
Chovy's been farming like a madman.
Oh, right,
and
there it
Zeka just died bot lane.
So we are approaching 210 CS. It's not even 19 minutes.
Oh, so I was looking at Zeka being like, oh man, how did you fall so far behind? He's ahead of the clock. He's like at the same as the clock, basically.
A little behind, but it's not too bad.
It's not the worst.
Yeah,
well,
I mean,
it is, actually.
Chovy's the quiet carry in this game for sure. He's not making huge, flashy plays, but he's doing exactly the one he needs to. He's farming
How
very
loud
well.
do you have to be a loud carry? Because I watched everyone explode in the river.
Keen is the loud man.
I was ready on this one.
I was pretty loud about that guy too.
The thing that has to change is HLE need to be finding picks on side, and the problem is I don't know at what point you're strong enough to kill Keen. In theory, it's now. Zeus is level 13, Peanut is level 11. Between the two of them, they should be able to kill Keen. The question is, what do you lose on the cross map?
And my mind keeps going back to that second Drake fight, the one that Canyon stole. If they get that dragon, the complete dynamic of this game changes because Viper actually gets time to leisurely build to his 225 stacks. I think you might be able to get a second item on Zeka as well, maybe on Peanut, right? You have a lot more time, you have a lot more lead. They don't have a choice. In 3.5 minutes, they are going to have to all-in fight for this. I think Zeka should be able, or Viperetta should be able to hit his stacks. But the game position right now isn't great for Hanwha Life, and they basically don't get a do-over. I say that as maybe they catch Chovy.
Yeah, Chovy caught out of position with that Solar Flare. He has to flash as Peanut gets in there. The fear is beautiful. Spiraling Despair doing a whole bunch of work, and Canyon takes down Peanut. It's a 1 for 2 so far as Ruler now just trying to kite this one out. Zeus in so much trouble. So many orbs peppered into the back of his skull as Viper and Zeka now trying to escape, and the damage is just too much. Keen chasing after them. The spear just barely misses, but they're holding them in place. Another spear flies through, and Keen just dashes on top of the dragon. Zeka gets torn apart, and Gen.G are looking for a repeat of the LCK finals.
It's 20 minutes into the game, and Gen.G ace HLE. Not a single member is left standing as the Arakan is soon to fall. Gen.G have full control over Game 4 and are looking to make their return to the World Semi-Finals.
And for Hanwha Life, so many things enter the opportunity for Zeka to try and get back to that World Championship. Peanut, his final dance as we take a look. Yes, they get Chovy, but it actually takes a good amount of time. And even though they take him down, there are still so many characters. Again, it's a story of Ruler. He takes one Q2 to the face, and that's it. Kenyon's able to get out with his stopwatch and the flash, and there is more than enough damage available. That's before the Keen Sante arrives.
Chovy getting his ultimate off just before he fell was so huge, and the collapse from Gen.G was so quick that HLE, desperately trying to find any pick that they can, ends in their demise. An ace on the side of Gen.G. And you can tell the coaching staff feel like that this game is done and dusted.
Yeah, Helper is looking absolutely manic right now in the coach's booth. And Zeus, the stark opposite of that one, as HLE's hopes are swiftly getting torn away. Soul Point, 5.5k, the gold lead.
9 kills, 100% KP for Canyon. We talked about the Nidalee, but like the stats really do back the man. There is a reason why this man is so feared on this champion. And the comp, again, just doesn't matter. When he has this champ, it feels like whatever comp he's playing with bends to his will.
Atlas,
Yes.
I know what we can do to save this, and I think you do too.
No. Well, okay, sure. Peanut, Spiraling Despair coming on through here. Yeah, I'll shave it off. If they win, and we
I'm with you, brother. Let's go.
Together?
For Silver Scrapes?
Oh, I love this. And potentially our last cast together of all time.
Viper has hit his stacks.
All right.
There's a dream.
2:30. I'm getting worried, actually. These braids are really fun. Took me a long time. Okay. Delight and Viper clearing things out. Gonna have to check my biases now. Gen.G, come on.
30 seconds until the Soul. I have to imagine that that'll be the point that this game is decided, because if HLE can't find a fight there, there's no coming back from that. The Hextech Soul and the lead that Gen.G have is just terrifying.
Hextech Soul with Nidalee and Hui does not sound like a fun and interactive gameplay experience. Like, that's just the slow, the extra damage, the chains.
And the fact that you can be hit by everywhere on the map is the really problematic part. As Chovy has demonstrated before, that this champion, he is very, very good at it. Dragon has spawned. They immediately start that one up.
All right, Hanwha.
Oh, Zeus is in a potential flanking position. Canyon, they haven't done a lot of damage to this Drake just yet. Duro waiting on the side. There is Mom coming down, doing a fair bit of damage. As Viper does have those stacks, it is going to be the Hextech Soul though. As now, can they actually stay alive in this fight? As Canyon, down to about 50%, dash cannons forward. And Gen.G, they will just back away.
They had to commit. I think you have to commit there, try to play for the fight, try to turn it into something more, because now you're just playing into Hextech Soul Poke.
Duro's positioning was phenomenal. He stayed behind the Dragon Pit to prevent Zeus from gaining any angle onto the back line. Gen.G played around their front line beautifully, walked away with the Soul without losing a single member, and converted into 2 towers as well. This game feels done and dusted. HLE need a miracle to turn this game around.
Viper will be able to clear out this wave, and I mean,
Oh, cancel.
the smolder scaling isn't necessarily what it used to be, but it is still a big deal. 265 now, but it is just feeling like Gen.G have this game exactly where they want it. And like you say, that Hextech Soul cannot be overstated.
It's so much power. Especially with this comp, I think there's compositions where you always get value from the abilities, the attack speed, but there are so many easy ways to proc it on multiple members. As we take another look, and even if there isn't a great angle, I really think Hanwha just not finding the opportunity. Peanut goes for the 50-50, but again, it's not really a 50-50 when it's Nidalee. Zeka gets a little bit of damage down, but because of Duro marking that flank, no one finds anything. Zeus.
Bit of a 1v1, gonna turn into a 2v1 here as Keen is in a lot of trouble.
Goes in.
Canyon moves on down, the all-out comes through, and he's all out of there by the looks of things. They are trying to chase him down, but this Cassante able to get himself out, and my goodness, those spears hurt.
The heal from Canyon enough to actually get Keen to safety. Otherwise, Zeus definitely would have won out on that 1v1. The Camille finally being a threat in the side lane, but unfortunately it feels like it's too late. Level 15 on the Camille pales in comparison to the advantage that Gen.G has right now. Viper, the late game win condition, working towards an Infinity Edge, it looks like third.
Look at the CS numbers in jungle and mid.
No.
What is that?
Don't do it, actually.
Oh, now there's an Infinity Edge on Ruler.
Ah,
Yep.
yeah. The Yunara is quite frightening. We're gonna go with that, at least for now.
So,
Yes.
what does Hanwha Life actually need? Like, I think this is a tough solution, like a tough thing to crack. So
Kill
let's.
the enemy nexus.
Okay, Max, I'm looking for extra suggestions here. So
What do you mean? That'd win them the game.
we're looking at a misposition for either Ruler, Chovy, or Canyon.
I mean,
Two of those.
I stand by the fact you need to do what we talked about early in the game. You have to 2v1 a lane and you have to kill someone.
Cool. Delight has to stay alive. He does at least do that, but no flash now on the Leona.
Gen.G are deliberately over-grouping. Right now, you've got 4 people hovering around the Baron, and obviously if you tried to kill Keen now, they would just take the Baron, but
Oh.
Well, let's see whether Zeus can just kill Keen. That might be a win
well, we know he
condition
can
angle.
win these side lane fights now. The problem is, what do they really convert that into, especially with Gen.G forcing the Baron?
Oh, there is a back coming on through, but vision is available here.
Oh, I got the
Keen is going to
cancel.
interrupt it. Very nicely done. Mom comes down. 4 versus 4 here around the Baron. As teleports up for both of our top laners. Keen could make his way in. As Viper singled out, and it is going to be Gen.G backing away from the Baron. Not biting off more than they can chew for now.
What about an Elder Flip?
Oh, I love that. Get the
Peanut
spatulas out.
swoops in, finds the flip, keeps the series alive.
That would be
Good,
extraordinary.
good brainstorm. Betty, I'm seeing some skepticism.
Guys,
over
Zeka
there.
is so weak. Like, I don't
Oh,
think he
I
does
know.
any
I'm trying to
damage.
talk around it, Betty. He's behind almost a full item.
Yup,
And
Actually,
the Baron
he is.
possibly just dead
I think it is.
as well. Actually, only down to about 50%
Peanuts.
more now. Oh my god! That damage is revolting. As Zeka caught out yet again, Keen is in amongst it. Redemption not going to quite be enough here as Zeus gets pulled out with the all-out from Keen, but he flashes to try and get away. The Guardian Angel is going to be there, but Delight just explodes with that spiraling despair. Ruler is on a rampage now as he takes down Zeus, and the Baron should be free for Gen.G now.
No remorse as Gen.G pick apart HLE once again. Keen delivers Zeus to the rest of his team, serves him on a silver platter as they secure themselves 2 kills and a Baron. HLE desperately tried to approach the pit, but Gen.G give them no room to play.
There is so much poke, as we can see. There is Keen holding multiple people hostage and then also kidnapping Zeus. But you can see the health bars, they just can't stand up, particularly in this choke when you don't have any place to move. But you need to contest the Baron. You're forced into a lose-lose situation. And again, that fight starts with Keen getting on top of Zeka, taking this Aurora out of the equation, and the rest of the members just can't quite find it. And I think you're starting to see it dawn as well on the faces of Hanwha as their run at Worlds feels like it is on the precipice of ending. As
well, Canyon celebrating by breaking his hourglass as once again the scared Yuumi every single time. But he can just do that. He retains 100% kill participation, by the way.
Like the collapse, just as you're saying, Vedi, it takes too long.
Well,
The
even with
engage
Peanut here, he doesn't look
there.
scared. Chovy has an army of siege minions as well. As Zeus wants to continue fighting here, but he just doesn't really have an inroad. They have to force a fight. They have to make something happen. But it's instead Duro that tries to go for it. The ulti out from Chovy is looking to try and kill him. Redemption comes down as he's dodging all of this poke. Redemption for the snipe, but he's able to walk his way out. But it doesn't really matter, does it, guys? Because there are 2 inhibitors now lying on the floor. Now we're going to go for it. Into the backline goes Peanut. He's headbutted back and just exploded. Viper doing a fair bit of work here, though. He's going to be the first one to be taken down. Ruler, can he be the hero? As it's Viper gets down so low, almost in range. It's Chovy. Destroys Delight, and whenever they walk forward, oh my goodness, Eka will finally find something here in this game, but there is a Keen Sante still standing, and I don't know whether Zeus is going to be enough to take him down, and he isn't.
If it was a 2-for-2 trade, maybe Hanwha Life could try and look to play off of that. They still have the small, their Elder is up, but with the trade going in favor of Gen.G, I don't know if that's a possibility.
Canyon and Chovy still do so much damage here as they're moving back towards this Elder Dragon. Information will be there, but you could see it. HLE thought that maybe they could race over here to try and contest, but that would definitely be game over if they just fell and Gen.G walked up and destroyed their base.
HLE, the base is in pieces, but Gen.G don't feel confident enough to actually start off the Elder Dragon. Instead, they're going to push out these waves once more. The pings from HLE are coming down. Concern around the Elder being started. Ruler now returns to the Rift, and that should be the go button for Gen.G to start off this objective.
Yeah, great fear there on to Zekka as he's almost just popped like a balloon. What the heck was that? Almost just one shot by Chovy alone. Look at the poke damage. Duro snipes him with the redemption, and the all-out comes through from the Keen Sante. He wants to go to the semi-finals, and he wants to go there right now. It's Zeus that's able to finally put him down, but the rest of Gen.G catch up, and it's Ruler with the double kill to send HLE home. Gen.G once again book a ticket to the semi-finals, and they're looking to continue their extraordinary run here at 2025 Worlds. And Chovy, he'll just take a little bit of a sip to celebrate.
It was an incredible series. HLE really pushed Gen.G to the very limit, but the comfort picks from Gen.G in Game 4 was enough to make a repeat of the LCK finals.
You can see there as well, so many hugs between these two teams. The bonds that tie them run deep within the LCK amongst different rosters, different teams, right?
So much over time, and there was going to be heartbreak no matter what in this series. The last dance from Peanut is finally over, but I think there are so many moments that he gave us in the LCK on the world stage throughout all of the years of his